Welcome to the Foul Out Podcast. Today we got Willie on the cam. We got Cam on the cam. My brother Arkeem and myself. And today, I'm hoping we do a little fouling out today. I'm really hoping somebody get foot out the game. But yeah, man, let's jump into the first topic. The LA protest, man. What do y'all think about this? There's been a lot of chatter on the internet. Some people saying, black and brown unity. There's other people that are saying, no, we need to stay out of it, because we don't feel their support whenever we need something done. I'm gonna kick it off to the man of the hour, Cam. What you got on the LA protest?
Man, it's just another one of those scenarios where I think things are just way blown out of proportion initially, and now it's become this huge thing. This is a very small little kind of thing happening across a couple blocks, but we've blown it all the way up, and it's just being used realistically for a media op for both sides in a lot of ways. You got Team Trump. They want to make an example. LA, they got all them liberals out there, all the Hollywood stuff. They want to show them that you got to go by our rules out here in the streets. And then basically, you got the Democrat side using this as an opportunity to try to play like they really doing big time resistance. But at least Gavin Newsom, unlike the rest of them Democrats, at least has something to say besides just laying down and stuck in his little tail between his legs. Oh man, it's a tough one when it comes to the man. Like in every region of America, the racial relations are so different. In LA specifically, like a lot of the black people and the brown people kind of came up together. So out there, I expect a much tighter bond. And don't get me wrong, like it hasn't been all sunshine and rainbows when it comes to the two communities out there. There has been beef, etc. Largely speaking out there, those communities are kind of intertwined, man. I don't know. It's a weird thing, man. I get we got the illegal immigrants and everything, and they ain't supposed to be here. But I mean, just look what they doing. Like, you got to go to somebody's job to get them. You got to get them out of school. It ain't like they really just out here terrorizing the streets. These law-abiding citizens. Some of these people not even really illegal immigrants, and they picking them up. Some of these folks got a court date. It just seemed kind of ignorant the way they going about it. But people watching this like red meat, like this really is like new day, like slave catching in a way, man. Like I was watching the video, and they had some Latinos out there picking stuff in the farm in the field. They driving the car on
And they
over
was
there, they
chasing
running
them.
after him and stuff.
Yeah, I
I
was in the
was like,
strawberry field.
yeah, in the strawberry field, they chasing them out like they trying to get free or something. These folks just really looking for a better life. Do I have a solution for it? Absolutely not. But at the same time, the Republicans have this kind of weird way of just making everything they do just look like the evil empire, man. Like just from the outside looking in, it looked kind of terrible to be real with you. If I was out there, people trying to pick out my cousin, I'd be pissed off too.
Well, what I want to say is this is what Trump told you he was going to do, right? Um, the majority of people who voted for Donald Trump. And this is what he said he was going to do. He claimed he was going to pass all these things, Lake and Riley Act, Operation Safeguard, all that, right? And this is what he's doing. And he's not going to stop. Protesting is not going to stop him. You got to think about it. You voted him in. And you're looking at the loud majority. Majority of America don't care, because some Americans, and they're wrong, but they think that this is the problem with America. They believe these people are adding to our debt deficit, and they're on food stamps, and they're getting free health care, and da 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 da. And Trump administration seems to believe, and his supporters seem to believe that these people are what's wrong with America for some reason. So that's why they're going for it. You're looking at the loud minority.
Yeah,
I got
one
sidetracked.
one thing that I want to say about it is, I guess I understand not wanting criminals in the country. I think everybody, you know, unilaterally would agree with that. But my thing is, like Cam said, I mean, if folks you getting folks out of graduations, you getting people at their jobs. It's like what harm is that person that's just trying to work their job, likely for cheaper than what an American worker would demand, and they just want to go home, feed their family with, even though it's less than what an American worker would make, it's still more than what they will make in their home country. What harm does that person really cause? I know that they often say that they're taking our jobs. Employment is at like record low levels. Anybody that want a job, I think they got one right now. You know what I'm saying? It's like that, like they not hurting the job market that bad. So I just think
But
they the scapegoat,
Dog, who about to go out there and pick some strawberries, man?
but let me play devil's advocate for a
especially for
second.
what they getting paid. That's what I'm saying.
Let me play devil's advocate for a second. They, I mean, now let's illegal immigrants do produce a lot of right up the street from us. There was this illegal immigrant shot a mother of four while the kids was in the car. Shot her dead over a road rage incident. She drove the car dead into a pole, and then it fell on top of the car with the kids in it. And he did that. This was probably like probably almost a year ago. And you remember the Venezuelan door kickers in Dallas? They were kicking in doors left and right, and we had no record of who they were because they were undocumented. So those things like that is what drives. Because I'm watching Fox News, I like to watch both sides to try to get a perspective of both people. That's what's playing on Fox News. If you turn on Fox Austin, that's what they playing. So that's what these Trump supporters are seeing. So they think that these people are causing the majority of the crime. When it's not true, but that's what they think. And that's why people are like, yeah, get him out of here. So can you blame a guy if that's his truth? He believes that this is the problem. And because Donald Trump told him it's the problem. And the propaganda is also saying this is the problem too. So that's what these people think. Now, what do you say to that?
Go ahead, Willie. Any thoughts?
Yeah. Um. So it's not the whole ICE, because they just got Kobby Lane too. They got him in Las Vegas and they sent him packing. The
They
whole
got a dude who don't even talk, bro.
they got a dude who don't even talk. So it's. I agree with how it's done. If I'm doing it, if he's doing it the way he wants to do it, and this is why I say it. It's not really a thing about crime. Like crime happens everywhere, bro. People killing each other every single day, regardless of illegal, legal or not. It's just human nature, right? But if I was him and I had the mindset of, look, 2030 or whatever is coming soon. So, like, to be a citizen of the United States, right, you just have to be born here. Your parents can be illegal. That's why he was trying to change the birthright law. So it's not the fact that illegal immigrants are bad or they're taking jobs. We all know that's not the case. The thing is, though, illegal immigrants or immigrants tend to bring children or have a lot of children because in underdeveloped countries, birth control, it's not that they want to have a bunch of kids, right? But birth
Yeah,
control and contraception just aren't readily available, which is kind of what we're doing, the thing we're doing now to increase the birth rate. But let's just say Miguel and his family comes over. Miguel's illegal, his wife's illegal, but let's say Miguel, while he's over here, illegally, has 4 kids. Those 4 kids are U.S. citizens based on the current law. And those 4 kids in the next census are going to go into the Latin American makeup of this country, right? So what does that mean? More of the minority. So if you just keep letting 4 kids for every illegal come in, you see how the numbers stack up now? So
hmm
you want to get them as soon as possible. Matter of fact, you don't even want to let them step foot over here. Because you know if they get lost in the sauce, that's Miguel gonna have 4, Juan might have 5, but Catherine back in Vicksburg or in Austin, she having 1 kid. Or Catherine doing even better, she marrying a woman and having no kids, right? Because she like, that's too much of a burden. So the end game, if I'm him, he doing it right, bro. Get everybody. Matter of fact, grab them when they out the womb. Just yank them, right? I agree. Grab them out of graduation. She on stage talking. She just won class president. Say, hey, shawty, when you get done, hey, come over here. That's the way you got to do it. It's now if you're talking about to be effective, you just got to grab any and everybody. You got to grab the good ones, the bad ones. You got to go straight Gestapo, straight Germany. Just start knocking on doors, saying, "What are the Jews?" Like you got to straight go in there and just grab them. If you gonna do it the way that he's trying to do, which is not for anything about illegal or crime. It's the population control to keep the minority, not the majority. Because soon, I think 2030, right? 2035 or something like that, the minority becomes the majority in this country. Am I wrong?
I thought it was 2050.
2050. Either way, that's not that far, right? And with the calamities that we've been having, like COVID, and with the declining birth rate of the majority, you know, that number is gonna keep. They're gonna say it's gonna go from 2050 to 2045 to 20. Like that's what he's trying to stop.
I'm gonna throw something at you off what you were saying, Willie. I went to a graduation out here in Austin recently, right? High school. And then at the beginning they usually will do the top 25 students in the class. Everybody in the top 25 except for maybe, I don't know, maybe about 5 of the kids, all children of immigrants or immigrants.
How do you know that? Did they say immigrant when they walk across the stage?
I heard them names.
Wait a okay. Well,
Nah, man.
that could be taken a different way. But okay.
Hey, dog, look, man, the demographics of Austin, Texas. You know who been here, who from here, and who may have just got here. Them kids just got here. I mean, they just want a whole lot of Kathy Millers out there.
Cheers. Since
Katie
Cam
Millers
poured
out-
up, I wanted to just join him.
Cam, right? I agree with you, Cam. I wasn't there, but I know if the principal of that school 20 years ago was saying, now we got Austin Reeves, Jonathan Smith, and then this year he was saying Miguel Esquiano Diaz.
Dude, that's all. Mr. Muhammad, Mr. Yeah, true valedictorian. Halfway through the speech, he started speaking Spanish.
Oh yeah. Oh
yeah.
But see, that's what they don't want. See, all right, so
That's
Trump
scaring the folks right there.
So this is what Trump said, and I agree with him. He said that in Harvard, did you know 30% of the students at Harvard are immigrants? 30.
Yeah, come on, dog.
And he said of that 30%, 15% of them are from China. He said we need to cut that out.
Dog, you went to college. You saw who was doing it big out there when it came to the projects.
Yep.
Yeah, me. But anyway, what I'm saying is this. He said we need to cut that out and we need to educate because there's some other kids somewhere in the hood right now who need to be in Harvard. He said we cutting a spot for American by giving 30% of our highest education to them. He said, and then 15% of them from China. We educating the enemy at this point.
To be devil's advocate here, most schools are like that in some cases. Here's my example. And I'm not saying from China. You're right about that. Those kids they're a big pool is the international students. One, because a lot of them families that come over got money. But like Anthony, I don't know if you remember, and it's gotten worse since we've graduated. When we graduated Mississippi State, right, the state school of Mississippi, and I'm sure the same applies for Ole Miss. When we got there, freshman year, I don't know if Anthony remembers, They told us that 30% of our class was from out of state. That's extremely high. That was
From out of
20.
state or international?
No. Out of state. So hear me out. In out of state. The state flagship school, 30%. That was in 2013. 2025, they released the new class thing again, Anthony. I was saying, dude, it's like 45% of the students at Mississippi State are from out of state. That's insane.
He said, "Oh,
So
That's
wait,
man,
in
bro, I
engineering,
think y'all
or are you
really
talking about the whole school?
no, dude. The freshman class, they do it off the freshman class that came in. 45% of our freshman class that came in was from out of state. That's
Hell State.
insane.
what
Hell
is,
State.
Hell State.
is it?
That's insane,
Y'all went to school in Mississippi.
Yeah.
dude. For a state school, a state-sponsored school, it's one thing for Harvard or Vanderbilt. Like if you look at the UT system, majority of the students are from Texas. But if you
Dog,
think
think how
about a
big of a state
state
Texas
school,
is with
dude,
four or five major cities.
but think about this though, Cam. Your state flagship school, really half of the students, your state can't even fill out your state flagship school. That's nowhere else. I mean, it's
Dog,
probably other places that's
Mississippi
like
is
that, but that's just
only
crazy.
20 million people, dog. It's more people in DFW than the whole state of Mississippi.
I
I think
understand
it
That's
could
true.
also be a cost thing too.
that too, but you know, I think it's this too. I think it's a thing that they look and they say this right here, bro. You got these students when you start complaining like Willie and Anthony and our King, both who all went to Mississippi State. But then Mississippi State, at some point, they get to the point where it ain't that many Willie Anthony's and our Kings, and they say, bro, how we gonna fill out the rest of this school? Now, John Boy in Florida can't get into Florida, but he can get a full ride, or he can get basically essentially his out of state tuition waived to come to state. And so Mississippi State, like Anthony's saying, they're looking at the bottom line. They don't really give a damn where you're from. They probably have to have a quota, because you know it would be crazy at some point if like 60% of Mississippi State was from out of state. That would be absolutely nuts. But I'm thinking it's the same logic here. Is that Harvard's like, all right, you know, we got X amount of students that qualify to our standard, and the rest don't. But I got this Chinese billionaire whose kids want to come to Harvard. I'm not saying no to that kind of bread, especially for little YN in the hood. What
Well,
his
here's the
mama gonna
thing,
bring
dude.
to the
I think
table?
there's a misconception about you talking about meet the standard. Realistically, man, you gotta think, man, it's a lot of people that meet these school standards. And I think in the real issue I have with the selective higher education community is the fact that they gatekeep it so much. Like those schools have all that money, they should be educating way more people than they actually are now. But they want to maintain an aura of prestige and don't allow as many people in there in the first place. But man, when you talking about the cream of the crop, you think about how many people really live in China, man. It's what, like a billion people in China?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about 330 million people in America. You're talking about a country 3 times the size of here. I mean, you gonna have just a little more the cream of the crop out there, man. Just more people.
I agree with it, Cam. I agree with the
This
mechanism,
same way
bro.
you get Jobby coming over here from Nigeria. This
Bro,
mother the best doctor you ever seen.
I agree with what Harvard's doing. They are doing it right. I say keep it private, keep the best select. Arkeem, Anthony talk about crashing out, fouling out. I'm not gonna foul out, but I'm gonna stay the fact. And Arkeem and Anthony know this. Now, Vicksburg Warren School District, when we was coming up in it, might have been hell on wheels. But I guarantee you this, bro. If Magnet Elementary would have said, "Hey, you know what? We didn't went from K through 4 to K through 6. Ain't the hell with it. Let's go K through 12." I tell you what, my black ass would have been at Harvard. I'm just
No, you
saying.
wouldn't.
I'm just saying, bro. I ain't gonna lie, and I don't know how Anthony and Arcane feel, but I promise you, bro, if we would have been at Bomar from K through 12, I think I'd have been on a different wave than right now, bro. Because when I went to the junior high, bro, they might not speak on it, but I will. I felt like that was me going into the Serengeti. I feel like that was me. Like, bro, I'm just being
Hey,
real,
you
bro.
couldn't just go to school at them school, Cam.
Heck
You
no. And
had to.
I look across, bro, some of the kids, my peers, who are very successful, especially, just looking at that school. And Bar was a small school, 500 students total. It was small. Bro, these folks successful. And I'm sitting here like, bro, what if Bomar was just K through 12? It would have been elite. We wouldn't have had, I ain't gonna name no names, but y'all know them boys who wouldn't have lasted a day in there. They would have had to get lost. They parents would have been at the school board talking about why my kid can't stay at Beaumont? Because they suck. They suck.
Man, I actually have a family member going to Harvard this coming year, and they was valedictorian at a whole college. That's the stakes to get in that joint is high. But man, I don't know, man. I think these universities, a lot of it is BS, man. But let's be real, man. The way that them other dog, you know them kids, man, and you know them parents different than ours, man.
But it works, Cam. Harvard got a 2% acceptance rate, but a 100% graduation rate. State got like a
Oh,
65%
but dog,
acceptance rate and a
you're in those
60% graduation rate.
once you're in those schools, you're good though. It's
Exactly.
not hard to graduate from the Ivy League schools like
So how you explain that, Cam? The easiest schools to get into got the lowest graduation rates, but the ones where you got a dang near Diddy party to get in, they gonna make you graduate, bro. That's what I'm saying. I say keep it elite, make it. It's what this country built on. This is what we supposed to be, right? We supposed to be the best get in. The lesser ones don't get in, but that don't make you
meritocracy.
lesser.
So, all right. So, Willie, what he's saying is we need to educate more people, and make the we will make the general population smarter. When a wave rises, all ship rises. That's
There
what
it
he's
is.
trying to say. One wave rises all ships. That's
Man,
it. And
man,
wait,
look.
no, because just wait. Listen, look at Michigan. Ain't that where Harvard is, or is it?
Oh
Where is
man,
that?
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts. And Massachusetts is the most educated state ever. Why? Because they got Harvard. They got Harvard
they
there, and Harvard doesn't just teach the people at its school. It offers classes. You saw a little baby at Harvard. It offers aid to all the schools around, right?
Bruh, that's not why either, though. You know why Harvard and
They're
them
the most
other,
educated state.
bruh, look at the most educated states, bruh. What are they in terms of history?
Wisconsin, oh,
No, no, no. I'm
Massachusetts.
saying the most educated states were typically, especially you mentioned Harvard, were the 13 original colonies. Massachusetts, New York, they had them brain power dudes that was up there. You know what I'm saying? Pennsylvania, bro, they had Benjamin Franklin living in New York, all that. It was so much knowledge. Back when them boys was getting busy with books and stuff, bro, Louisiana was a purchase. Lewis and Clark ain't even been to Louisiana. Look at Louisiana, bro. Look at Mississippi. It's a reason, bro. It ain't like it's like, oh, the whole, bro, it's a public library on every single corner of America. But like my blood brother, Dr. Umar said, I can't save them all, Arkeem. Some of them boys got to be put to sleep. Bro, we can't save them. Bro, I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I've had a transition. I used to want to save them all, bro. Like Cole said, I used to want to hug the block. But
That
sometimes
block don't hug back.
you gotta strap the block to a rocket and send it to Gangster City, bro. You gotta send it to the dark side of the moon. I'm sorry, bro. Like, and it
So
sounds so insensitive,
you don't think educating the general population would help?
brother. Me, you, and Anthony and Jalen. I think Jalen was there. Sat in a restaurant. We had this waiter up in Houston. And we basically gave this man the blueprint. We said, "Hey, bro, you say you want to go to school? We know some people, X, Y, Z. We laying it down, bro. I ain't gonna lie. We gave a hell of a TED talk. I'm sitting here watching y'all talk. Rome, Anthony Arcane. I'm saying, bro, man, bro, this dude here, this his lucky day. And all that Bang wanted to do was, so y'all saying they got a basketball team, and y'all think I can hoop? Hey, bro.
Man,
Hey, bro. Some of them boys got to get done like George and Lenny, bro. I hate to speak violence. They got to just look at the rabbits, bro. You just say, keep looking at the rabbits, bro. Keep looking at the rabbits. Man, bro, I'm
you
telling you, bro.
talking about when he shot him in the back of the head?
Just look at the rabbits, bro, because I'm telling you, it sounds so good, bro, but I'm tired. I know that's why I respect Martin and them boys, because they didn't get tired. I'm tired. Bro, I'm 29. I'm tired. Look,
That
some of
what
them
Pac
boys gonna
said.
get it, and some of them boys ain't gonna get it, man. I just hate to say it, man. I know Anthony got beef with, Kendrick, but in that song, Black Boy Fly, he explained it.
What do you explain?
Remember, he said we went to the same school with Aaron Aflalo. That boy, what did he say, Arcane? That boy was chasing the NBA, and we was chasing, like, bro, they
He
didn't have to
said he
look
focused
far.
on the NBA. We focused on some Patron. Watch that
Exactly.
black
I
boy
watched that
fly.
black boy fly. Now they in the same school, Anthony. They didn't walk the same block to school. He waved at them down the street. They wave at him. They focus on Patron, and he focused on the NBA, bro. That's how it is.
He
That's
said
the
we peek
biggest
inside the
conundrum.
study hall. He focused on math.
That's the biggest conundrum. You talk about the hood. I told my dad about that. That's the biggest conundrum. How two dudes from the same hood, one of them boys laid out, left for dead, and the dude that he rode the school bus with, a doctor, saving the world. Now what kind of game of bingo is that, bro? That's why I say it ain't no saving some of this, bro. You just gotta put. I'm
I
sorry.
heard I was watching a video last night and I heard John Hope Bryant actually. He said Africans like this from Africa and Afro Caribbeans or Caribbean Afro Caribbean Americans. He said they lack confidence, but they have strong self esteem. He said both of them are the same. He said, but Black Americans, we have confidence but we lack self-esteem. He says, see, we have confidence because we've been in a free market society and all the things that's been thrown at us, we've still overcome and still been able to, make it in this society. But when it comes to that internal thing, like the way you feel about yourself, that's why you have people that's happy that Diddy falling. That's why anytime somebody do something, you got people that's saying that's hating on them, jealous of them, don't want them to have it. It's because we lack that self-esteem. Now, Africans, they have that. They know what tribe they came from. They know they grandma and they dad and everybody, it was a black mayor. When you walked into a bank, it was black people when you walked in Africa and in the Caribbean and stuff. He said, but they don't have the confidence because they weren't thriving in a free market society. They're coming from most likely impoverished society, so they don't have the same confidence like that
But
outward
but they
thing.
but they got that inner though. They don't have that
Exactly.
outward, but they got that inner,
So
and we
that's what I
got
was
the
about to say.
outward.
So it's more so it sounds like it's more so the confidence is like an internal thing. Like it's more personal and like self-esteem has to come from a place where you also have pride in your race or where you come from, the culture, whatever it may be.
Right, right.
So he basically
I,
calling. He's basically saying we some fools, because we act like we got it all figured out, but when it actually come down to getting to it, we know where to be seen. Versus
Type stuff.
somebody who might be unsure about this and that just because of the unfamiliarity, but deep down they believe they got the tools to make it happen. Like boy, bro, what you just said, Anthony, to me sound like popcorn reading. Them boys be doing all that talk, but now it's time for you to read. It's time for you to read, Jarquez, and you got your finger on the page. Man, why y'all pick me? But when it's time to crack jokes, when it's time to be, whatever, we got that. We
you
got
can't
that.
get them to be
It, it's
quiet.
because
Yeah.
it's because it seems like we have a foundation of slavery. You
We
talk
do.
about
What you mean?
Africans.
Seem like
But that's what I'm saying though. When you talk about like the Africans and how they can reach back and they have ancestral stories and different things like that, it's like we can only really go so far back to like slavery. So we don't really have anything to like reach down deep into besides grandma, granddad, the stories they tell, and you know what I'm saying, kind of a family legacy type deal. But we don't really have that ancestral, you know, this was happening through the years and everything like that. So I think that's a big like difference between the two.
And we
Totally
brainwashed.
agree.
And we brainwashed. Cause bro, and I stand on this, and this might be a terrible take, and you might call it privilege, what you want. But bro, when my mom and them and your mom and them were growing up, bro, they didn't have phones. They didn't have access to all this, information. And I'm gonna put a dash by it and say distractions. This is why I say that. Bro, they was doing so much more with so much less. And maybe COINTELPRO won because something happened in that trend. My mama graduated medical school in 1978. Right? No, she graduated college in 1978. She graduated college in 1978. Bro, something happened. Whether they put it in the water or something. Because we went from, you gotta think about it. 1963, 1965 was the Voters' Rights Act. So they living through MLK. They living through all this change. They living through integration, segregation. 78, she graduate, right? That's the cusp of the 80s, right? And something happened to where we had all these strong trailblazers. That's what they are. That's why when you look back at your mama and them, they the first for a lot of stuff. And that mama was the first one that, like, it's the first for a lot of that. And then in the 80s and 90s, bro, something happened to where we reverted back to a primal state. Where we reverted back to kill, murder, rapping.
But
Bro, cause
was
I
it
ain't
ever
gonna lie,
like
man.
that?
Huh?
I think we transfer into something new. I don't think it was ever kill black people. It was never like that. During slavery time, we weren't killing each other.
That's what I, and
During the
that's what
20s
I'm
and 50s,
saying. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say revert it back. We transformed into something else. Because, even James Brown, and he was talking about Busta Move and all that, he even got on stage in D.C. and said, brother, man, what we doing? We got to get right.
It was a
But
shift.
that's gone now.
You went from family and love, you know, a lot of values that came from the civil rights movement and things like that, where you got familial bonds being strengthened to a lot of, like you said, we having phones, we having technology, we getting the things that we couldn't have back in the gap. So with us closing the gap, I mean, a lot of what we were fighting for back in the day was just to be somewhat equal. So, like the closer we got there, and then we start to bust out hip hop. We started to bust out these things that in popular media, you know, a lot of what was being taught was detrimental to the population. So, I mean,
100%.
it was a
100%.
cultural shift around that time, and then you had, you know, drugs in the '80s affected Black communities on a massive level. So, I think all these
so
things going together.
do you
For
think that
Cam,
sure.
you
crack
on mute
is
too.
still Cam? You on mute?
You've been on mute for like the last,
Maybe talking to somebody else.
Nah, you
maybe
definitely
so.
talking.
But do y'all think the effects of crack?
Oh, hold on, dog. I was on mute this whole time,
Yeah,
man.
bro.
That's crazy.
The
I
whole
had like
time, bro.
points, man. Look, here go the main thing. I think we really skip it over. Integration, man. A lot of the structure and stuff that we had came built, like you said, out of necessity. And we would have our own community, our own teachers teaching us, our own doctors, our own this, our own that. Soon as they say you can go get some of that from the white man over there, they said, "Oh, dog, I ain't never seen nothing like this." Soon as that happened, man, it just kind of like it put us into the same marketplace as everybody else. And everybody else was already established at a certain level within that market. And then we got pushed down to the bottom. And at the bottom, it's dog eat dog world out there. And I
Hmm.
think that's what really broke down some of the structure or whatnot.
Hmm.
I,
We really
I agree.
became like the Native Americans, you know, like
Pretty
when the
much,
when the
we
Pilgrims came
basically
over.
developed a culture all of our own on the side. And when that culture got developed in that fashion, it's harder to merge it back in. Now, I do see the people from this time period, like the youngins. I think the kids that are like growing up now and are kids, like, I think they're relatively actually integrated. Because, like, when I look at myself, I'm in my family, I'm the first person to really grow up fully integrated from like when it comes like my generation and my parents' generation. Like segregation and stuff was still a thing when my parents were growing up.
Mine
So
Yeah,
too.
I'm the
same.
first one to like, you know what I mean? Just get like a regular opportunity to be able to work a regular corporate job. Like when I go to my hometown, at times I can see like the lineage of like how somebody would have been went from slavery to still like to living in the hood now. Like it's not that many generations really back between like when we was basically really down bad. So I just think now it's just things are different now.
So would you like it better when we were definitely capped, especially in the trade? We were capped financially, but what we had was a great sense of self, right, and a great sense of unity. Or
Hmm.
now, you know, integration time, we aren't capped financially, but what
Oh
we
nah, I'm
have,
gonna
but what
take
we had,
this joint all right. I don't
but
know,
but but
man. Them
but what we
watermelons.
have capped ourselves is in our stability as a race as a whole. Because like you mentioned, something like when my dad grew up poor, but my dad remembers when other men would come into the neighborhood and look after those who didn't have fathers. My dad remembers flyers for the Million Man March and how you could get a flyer and get on a Greyhound and go to DC to be surrounded by a million other, my dad remembers the Black Panther pamphlets about how to be a man, how to dress. That wasn't just sent to like a regional, even the nation, the brotherhood, right? Same thing, how to be a man, how to carry yourself, how to be an alpha, not in the sense of you dominating, hurting people, but how to hold yourself to a standard of excellence. Now they didn't have a lot of money back then. The church was really like a bank. But now it seems like now that we can get everything so streamlined that we've lost that connectivity. We have it in pockets, like our friend group, and this is a great pocket. But overall, bro, back in them days, I could be wrong. I'm speaking, let me know. Everybody, for the most part, understood the assignment, whether they wanted to or not. You just couldn't pretend like you ain't know what was going on.
Hmm.
Folks won't let
Yeah,
that slide.
It
it
was a
was like a
wholly
group
different
project.
time. Yeah.
It was like a group project. But I mean, the difference in between now and then is I really believe it's just the whole culture. It's the music. We have been trained to believe that
Over
nobody.
sexualization.
Yeah, yeah, that too. We have been trained to believe that other black people aren't valuable. You see, I see on my platform all the time, how girls on there just speak about guys. And it's black dudes, right? And then if you see a black girl with a white boy, it gets so many likes. But even though they subject themselves to only dating black men, you see a black girl with a white, and the same thing with the black guys with a white girl. Yep, they show better, like it's because this is self hate. And when you got self hate, that kill your confidence because that's why a black boy will blow another black boy's brains out. But see, he'll go. You got. I know some guys right now who in jail for murder, killing a black boy. But then the white boy come to get him. The white cop come to get him. He throw the gun in the bushes, and hide, and scared, and get on the run when the white boy come. That gun don't bust at that white boy. And see, people think I said that to somebody. He said, "Because if you kill a white boy, you ain't gonna never come home." I said, "That's brainwash if I ever heard it before." See, somebody there, you step on his shoe in the club, he'll be ready to fight you and kill you. But that white boss who yell at him and tell him, get your ass to work or you fired. Yes, sir. You see what I'm saying? It's that they got that targeted aggression. And I don't respect those people like that, man. And it's
Hmm.
so many of them. It's like a lot of these guys who are people who claim that they gangster, this gangster mentality that's been pushed onto our people. They only gangster towards other black people.
Hmm.
That's so
That's
true.
what it is.
It's
Is they
like
only
the
gangster toward this here.
yeah,
Because
Hmm.
kind of like what
when that
Willie was
white boy,
saying. The
uh,
baddest dude in the class, when you ask him, like the baddest dude in the class, I'm talking about he will kill you if you look at him the wrong way. If you ask him to read in class, he turned into like a mouse.
Yeah, I seen it
Um,
done 1,000
yeah.
times.
And how I want to say it is, I think Dr. Cornell West said this. We went from having a we mindset to a I mindset.
Yep, exactly.
But but to me, I think the easiest way to describe it is back in the day. My mama always say, back in the day, everybody was poor. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It wasn't really a class system in our community. Everybody was poor. But it seemed like now you got, it's okay to be poor, but now it seemed like the floor fell out. The floor fell out the bottom. You know what I
And we
mean?
got Instagram, and you can see how they balling in the Hamptons and on the yacht popping
There
champagne.
you go.
It hurt. It hurt more now.
There you go. Yep.
But
You
Anthony,
can see everything that you lack.
you
Yeah.
spoke on something then, Anthony, because me and your mama, me and my mama and your
Yeah,
mama
me and
are
your
are,
mama.
are, in, are in the same Jackson State alumni group, and just hearing how they talk about each other. Like my mama be talking sometimes, not to put her business out there, but she'll be talking about so and so arguing, and I'll be like, dang, they ain't friends. She said, oh, they gonna get right, cause we Jackson State, baby. Don't worry about us. We gonna get it right. And I sat there and I think about that, and the key word she said was we. Like even when they bickering among themselves, bro, they still see each other as one. You know what I mean? Like this hearing her talk. My dad, like okay, so my mama right now, she went back to Tuscaloosa for her 50th year at University of Alabama. But my dad, bro, he be dissing. He went to Stillman, which is a private school in Tuscaloosa, all black. Anyway, he be talking about the problems, the money, and all that. And you know, he he even mentions a lot of times we. Even when they talking about the bad, it's never, oh, I'm doing this and the bad is them. It's like, bro, we gonna get through this though. Like we too tight of a group not to mess this up. And like you said, Jalen, for them, that mindset is natural. That mindset, even when you think, man, mom and daddy, why y'all keep messing with them? They not doing them because they said, boy, we gonna have to get them right because that's how we was brought up. It's a we
Mhm.
thing. And you know what? That's how a lot of other races are too. That's why they not quick. Even when the people that you think that are despicable, that you think they should be dissing and disowning, they don't. They always sometimes leave a door open and say, hey man, you know what? I know Johnny terrible, but we hoping he gonna get right. Like we got hope out there that he gonna figure it out. Us though,
Mhm.
bro, in our generation, this current one, we be ready to cut somebody off of something simple.
But that's why I made that second point, bro, is that it's like you had poor people back in the day, but now it's like the floor fell out of the bottom. It's like the people that are down at the bottom, it is not a normal bottom no more. It's like it is plenty of people that's poor, but they good people. But it's like now there is like a new breed of person. That's what I'm saying. It's like how you said your dad used to see Black Panther pamphlets and tell him how to be a man, how to dress, how to carry yourself. What do you think the average inner city black kid would do if he saw that today? Ridicule it. That's
Be
what come to my
confused.
mind. Ball it up. Be like, man, what is this? If you imagine if like a upstanding man came down to the community center and said, hey, y'all stop playing basketball for an evening and listen to what he got to say about a career, being a man, how to dress, whatever. I feel like they would be halfway paying attention, waiting for it to be over just so they can go back and hoop. It's
Hmm.
like I don't know if it was like that back then. That's what I mean by it's a
It's
whole new breed of person.
it's the media. It's everything that we were exposed to that we weren't able to be exposed to back in the day. Back in the day, you didn't have TVs and cell phones. What you learned came from your family, came from experience, from people just walking on this earth. And around that time, a very difficult time, you know what I'm saying? It was a very difficult period to live and be black. So I feel like as we got more access to things, and especially as media turned on, it also shifted from familial values. So you can look like at like the black sitcoms and stuff like Martin, Sister, these different, smart guy. Man, they used to wear, Morehouse and Spelman, all these different like black institutions they used to represent on there. And really everything was about brotherhood. Everything was about coming together, we achieving success as a whole. And then you had a cultural shift in the media, and the thing that wanted to be portrayed, that wanted to be put at the forefront, was like the over sexualization of, the human body. So we're starting to objectify each other more. The over glorifying of violence, weapons,
And
all
black
these other
women do
things.
have the
And
nicest bodies.
yeah, I mean, that's always been facts,
To
So, I
you,
mean, that made it
because
easy
you've been
for them.
programmed to think that.
Nah.
Yeah. But ultimately they have the most utility. You can only do so much with so little. Just overall, everything went from a shift of really wholesome values to just secular, degenerate. Even I'll say today, gospel gospel ain't like it used to be. Everybody want to be a gospel rapper. They want to have these like pop beats and hip hop beats in the gospel now, and it's like even that's losing its essence.
It's like you was talking about, Jalen. It's that village mindset. It's that mindset, like, bro, like, cause obviously, bro, humans didn't change, but the mindset and around them did. Like back in our parents' time, my mom and y'all's time, bro. Miss May down the street wasn't gonna let Anthony crash out. She said, "Boy, I'm gonna tell your mama what you doing." And so everybody got on your head, and it got to a point because like I said, the human mindset really ain't changed, but it got to the point where like, bro, you know what? Like kind of like me sometimes too, bro. Everybody, I know if I mess up, everybody gonna tell my mama. So I might as well try to do right. And you know what happens when you try to do right and you good at it? You like, man, you know what? I'm gonna keep this up. That's what the issue is now, bro. Now the
The,
issue
Why
is
don't
the mindset
if
did change though. It,
what you
it, it
say,
did
Art?
change because I look at like how back in the day you had a lot of sisters and brothers staying with they grandma, well, they moms and stuff like for a longer period of time, and as more resources became available, they started to spread out. You know what I'm saying? Sisters staying in Columbus, brothers staying in Starkville, somebody that moved over to the state, next state over. So I think when this started happening, we start getting those resources as well that also help to create these silos that we see today. Those
That classical condition stop too, bro. I'm speaking for me, just thinking about how like this stuff shapes you. Cause I ain't no great person, innately, but I was surrounded by great people. I remember my dad and them used to be like, "Hey, you got permission to whoop Willie." Like, hey, you ain't gotta call me. If he get out of line, whoop him. And see that conditioning, bro, in my brain, it was like I assume everybody knew my parents. Like whether they knew him or not, I assumed they were gonna get back to my dad. And I know how my dad used to whoop me, so I'm like, bro, I'm a act right. I'm gonna do right. And you know what that is, bro? That's that conditioning for when you see little Tommy smarting off to his mama or to the teacher, you looking at him like, bro, they could tell your folks.
paddling got took out the got took out the schools.
Exactly. Exactly.
but
You
We used to
take
get
that test,
paddled.
Anthony, and they say, "Hey, boy, you better than this." I'm gonna tell your mama you in here getting 6 out of 10. So
but let me ask you this though.
what's up?
What's the difference between now? I mean, like back then when you said Miss Mary would say, "I'm gonna tell your mama," or sometimes neighbors could even, like you say, whoop the kids.
Yeah,
What's the difference between now and then? Why wouldn't Miss Mary say, "Hey, I'm gonna tell your mama"? Why wouldn't
because
she do that today?
That ain't
because
none of her
now,
business.
bro, with the kids now, Miss Mary say, "I'm gonna tell your mama." Now your mama come to Miss Mary and say, "What you say to my baby? What you tell my baby? What you say? You want to do something, or I'm gonna come to the school." Cause Miss Maybelline knows she know dang well that she don't need to be telling my kid what they need to do with their life. My kid come to me for that, and your kid ain't even coming to you for that because you don't even know what the heck you talking about.
Everybody is territorial. Everybody, we got in them silos, and things were so hard to get as Black people. Once we finally got something, we held on to it, and that was in almost every family. So it's just like that's how you end up getting those situations, and you go from having grandmas that, like you said, it takes a community, that type of mindset. You go from that to these younger parents who don't embody them same values. They're getting things, they're having promotions and they're getting jobs, and you know what I'm saying, they're moving here and there. So they're getting exposed to different things, and they're trying to protect their interests at the same time. That's why you got a lot of people who, dislike when a lot of black people move up in management or something like that and start saying, oh, they ain't looking out for me, or, this, that, and the third. That's a part of it. You know what I'm saying? So that person at
Oh
that
yeah.
management level, he may be saying, man, it took me 25 years to get here. And you know what I'm saying? I may not be here if I make a mistake. You know what I'm saying? It could be as simple as that. And
And
that
on
one person that he might let up, go ahead, Willie.
a deeper cut, Anthony, if you really want me to get, if you want to get foul out on cut, I can get into my real BP bag until you have, like, you talk about the secular music. You ever heard the phrase "kids raising kids"? That's that transition too. You went from
Yeah.
having a kid, you know, and this is part of our symptoms. This is part of the sickness. The secular music, and I'm gonna give a little history. I'm gonna get back into it. The big bands out are king during the '70s, '60s, and whatnot. Jackson 5, right? Family.
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Sly and the Family Stone, right? Me and my parents were playing some of their music. I was playing my parents' music when I was over here
He just
yesterday.
passed R.P. Sly Stone.
Wasn't a whole lot about killing. Wasn't a whole lot about less, it had sexual undertones, but it wasn't too flagrant. There was some songs saying brother man. It wasn't a whole lot of songs saying nigga. Wasn't a whole lot of songs saying bitch. And when we switched to that, when we got into that hypersexuality, right? I'm talking about like when they talk about rip the clothes, like when it's describing all the acts. And kids, it's targeting, it's like on Music Man, it's targeting the teenage mind, it's targeting the kid's mind. They having babies out of wedlock. Now you got a generation where the kid 16 and the mama 32, kid raising a kid. And now she working two jobs and she already feel like the world at her shoulders. Now you telling her son acting up. Oh, you coming for what all I got. Now it's not, hey,
Mm,
I'm not trying to learn. I'm not trying to understand what it means to be a parent. Now I'm on the defensive because I've been on the defensive my whole life because I didn't have this kid at 16. I ain't had time to actually be a kid. I ain't had time to
mhm.
actually learn, right? And so that, and it's a culmination of that, is why I 100% believe where we are now. And the music is
Big
still
part.
part of it, bro. I still turn up to
Yeah.
Drake. I still turn up to them. But when Drake say, is it Stacy? I know what he talking about, but they don't, bro. He talking about a fantasy for me. He really speaking some of these folks' lives, and that's so sad.
That they or a
How
life
many
they want
times
to
you?
live.
How many times Morgan? Or can you like keep going? How many times Morgan Wallen say that? Oh, baby girl, bro, I don't want to foul out right now, but y'all get what
Yeah.
I'm saying though, right?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
I
exactly
actually
the point.
wanna shift the convo a little bit because we kind of been talking about this for a minute. But this is kind of on topic. Let's talk about Tyler Perry. So his new movie Straw went #1 on Netflix. His demographic is black women, right? So he got on stage thanking black women, saying, "Thank y'all for making it go #1. I got another one coming out. Y'all gonna make that one go #1 too." But people on the internet have been complaining that he put every stereotype you could put on a black woman on this lady.
As he
Thug.
always does.
That's every.
Yeah,
As he
exactly.
always
What
does.
director give a black
He's
woman a good
done it
image?
since he
Let him get in his bag,
Yo,
Arcane.
Jay.
it's some people. It's some people. But no. Like I've been saying this since Tyler Perry came out, bro. Like he's been pushing the Vendetta since he got out. He's doing the agendas work for them. That's why he's so popular. You don't see nobody else pull a Tyler Perry but Tyler Perry. His story, and I don't put that past his hard work and stuff like that. That's cool. But I just feel like there's a reason as to why you're as successful as you are on the stage that you're at with the criteria of things that you put in your movies. You've done this since it's the plays. You've always portrayed a black male man dressed up as a woman. So #1 right there, you're pushing feminism on the black male. So it's just like this plus every single movie and play you've had has been about The hood struggle has been about the worst type of black people. I ain't saying worst, type of people, but the worst situations. Very stereotypical situations. I mean, I don't understand why this is such a shocking surprise to everybody. He does the same thing in literally everything he puts out.
It's because it sells. He feeding a lion meat. You go out there and throw vegetables to a lion, it won't eat no matter what.
Hey,
You ever heard the phrase, no matter how desperate, the lion will never eat grass? You ever heard that before? No matter how
It's hard
desperate,
though.
those type of people will never ingest knowledge. Those type of people want trash. They want garbage. Well, guess what? He gonna put on his garbage man hat and feed it to him for the dollar. Otherwise, guess who gonna do it? White boy red. And he gonna be sitting up in the penthouse. He gonna be sitting with the $1 billion. At least he can do things like say, hey, Taraji P. Henson, I want to pay you more than you've ever been paid. Hey, Cicely Tyson, I want to pay you more than you've ever been paid. Hey, let's name this the Martin Luther King studio. Let's name this the Cicely Tyson, the Denzel Washington, the Sidney Poitier studio. Look, people like garbage. White people too. People, yeah, people ain't the biggest show for white people. What? Keeping Up with Kardashians? Hey, doing all kind of stuff on there. But see, the lion
Them
want to eat
dynasty
meat,
makers.
man. He don't want to eat no vegetable.
But yeah, I seen that and I did have to applaud that. Him
That's
saying that he
facts.
made the most
And that's a clip too.
black millionaires, other than I guess compared to any other director in his situation or something like that, or producer in his situation. I do tip my hat off to that, you know what I'm saying? But I
so
mean,
it,
and you
it
do have a point. I mean, is money
that
that money is gonna be made by somebody. So
sex sells, bro. So let me tell you something, bro. Let me show you how the game work, bro. Let me show you how this game work. And this is like again, this just shows you where we are in the world. One of my and you know I love movies. One of the best movies that I saw last year was called The Forge. The Forge is a great film, awesome film about a kid who had no direction, who finds it amongst this man, black man who owned the business, brought him in, gave him direction, and said, "Look, this is the Forge. We are a group of men who seek out to better other men." Now, The Forge, right? Great film. You should watch it. You ain't gonna find it on Disney Plus, man. So The Forge was a faith-based film. And a lot of times with face-based films, they don't get the same publicity because they have one, not the same budget. Two, the stigma of a face-based film. Oh, you just trying to shove XYZ down my throat, yada yada yada. Production like a Tubi movie. It get all that. But the message in The Forge was beautiful. Back to what our king was saying. They don't want to sit through that. I sat through it. My parents told me about it. I said, bro, you should check this movie called The Forge. And even I, as a movie lover, was apprehensive. I'm like, man, okay, mama. I watched it. I said, wow, this is great. And when I saw it, I said, man, you know what? I wonder if this is how it is for a lot of other things. That I'll sit there and want to watch, like Arkeem said, trash to either see how trash it is or just to see, what it is. That's a lot of time it is. And I love Taraji P. Henson. But Taraji P. Henson ain't do The Forge. It was actually a kid that went to Jackson State, uh just a regular dude who got the role. And so I'm sitting here like Arkeem, he brought up a great point. It's selling because it's sex. It's sexy.
hmm
If you do a movie that show how great black people are. Think about the biggest black films. Was it Great Debaters by Denzel Washington? Is that the biggest, most highest grossing black film out ever? A movie that
That's
talks
great.
about a real life event of Wiley College, about students debating Harvard, real life. We ain't talking about Superman flying through the sky type shit. We're talking about stuff that real deal happened, right? The black documentaries, which one's gonna get you more? I'm Not Your Negro, that talked about James Baldwin, Medgar Evers, Martin Luther King,
Let,
Malcolm
let,
X.
let, let me pause you there, Willie. And I want to ask Jalen this question. So, based on what Akeem said about he feeding the lion meat, and we just kind of all agreed that, like, there's a populace in our community that probably does prefer garbage media. I mean, the numbers kind of show it. So he's just feeding that beast. How do you view Tyler Perry, like, with that in mind?
I mean, I don't respect it. I don't knock nobody hustle, but when it comes to just the situation with African Americans in America and how we talk about getting to a certain place where we as a whole are, successful not only in material things, but also in knowledge and in just, wholesomeness and morality and everything else. Man, with people like him, we ain't gonna never get there. You know what I'm saying? If the people who are among our race who get to high places like that and have the influence and have the resources, continue to push those narratives and continue to put material out that influences us on a negative level, man, it's gonna make it damn near impossible to get somewhere to make progress.
Yeah, he who controls images controls minds. Well, Willie, how do you feel about Tyler Perry and the content he put out?
I feel like okay, so I feel like he a product of the system. Like the movie Sinners that just came out, right? You see Ryan Coogler, how long he had to pitch that to get Warner Brothers to take it. Right. Now this Ryan Coogler, same Ryan Coogler that directed Black Panther. How long do you think that pitch took? How long do you
Five
think it took the
minutes.
pitch to do Creed? But now I got this guy who's improved it and done it and shown you can do it. Now I'm doing a movie that even though it did have some negative connotations, it put black people. Wouldn't you overall say, Arkeem, and those who've seen it, and Anthony, that you didn't leave out of there with a negative connotation about black people, right? And he had to fight.
That's because the vampires went for the Ku Klux Klan first, but
He had to fight for that film, right? A proven director. And now, and I will say this to Jalen's defense. I think Tyler Perry, when I get what he had to do, like Diary of a Mad Black Woman, which I think is actually a very good film. I think Diary of a
it,
Mad Black Woman is a great film. But I do agree with Jalen with this. At some point, dude, you've got the status, you got your own studio, you can dictate what you put out there. If you want to do every movie, I don't care. If you say, look, bro, I'm at the point in my career, every movie I'm gonna do is gonna be pro-black, positive, no negative, no calling niggas niggas, no calling bitches bitches. And if y'all hate it, but fuck it, that's what I'm putting out. He's at that point where he can do that now. I I'm of the sentiment that I hope he does that. But like Jalen, I do agree. I think Tyler Perry has built himself up enough that he don't have to do the garbage stuff anymore. I haven't seen this movie Straw. I think it depicts a black woman going through a lot of struggle and then coming out of it. You know what I'm saying? But
is
like it
that
was
on
like that.
Netflix?
It's on Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boom.
I might have to.
There you
I
go
might have
right
to
there.
watch it. I'm gonna have to watch it. And so, it's like that. I don't know if y'all remember. I know I'm rambling a little bit. Y'all remember that movie that came out when we was like in fifth and sixth grade? It was called For Colored Girls Only.
Hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
that movie, and that movie Precious, right? You remember the movie Precious?
Yeah,
hmm
I remember that.
What's her name? Monique won Best Actress for it. But look at how
hmm
that portrayed us. For Colored Girls Only came out to make it seem like it was based off a book that it was going to be some real, But that movie was insane. Like it was so like what? And it might have been real, but sometimes, bro, give me a make believe. Show me a black man being great, even if it is made up or whatever, or even if it ain't 100% how it goes. And so, Anthony, if my opinion on Tyler Perry is, I appreciate him as a director, but I wish he would do a little bit more. And especially at the point where he got his own studio. Like again, I said, bro, you can put everything out that shows black people in a positive light, whether it's realistic or not. It don't matter. But he okay. He don't give me the same vibrations as Denzel.
Definitely not. I'm
Heck
thinking
no.
more on the solution side of this. We might just need to have like a psyop, like a psychological operation that we need to run. Maybe get like a whole bunch of AI bots, just like, and just have them spewing like positive content. You know what I mean? Positive messages.
Man, they gonna blow them
Anthony, to be,
robots.
to
They
be
gonna
real,
blow
he
the
is only
robots to
speaking from his
smithereens. You ever talking
experience.
about some?
He is only speaking from his experience, man. Because, like, what's so crazy? We all in this room, I think, have had better upbringings than him. Oh no, I don't think I know because his story was kind of wild. And so, what we view and what we want to put out, even though he is so successful, and he might not ever admit this, I think he's still warped from his upbringing. That even with all the money, all the accolades, all the influence, all that, all that says, you know what, I should be better than this. I don't think he's better than that. And that seems crazy to say that. Like, because with
Not
me,
really.
I'm not rich. I'm not like him. But if I'm putting something out with black people in it, like, bro, we're going to be amazing. But that's just because of what I've seen. I've seen amazing black people from since I was little. He
And
might,
you
and that,
are
and
what you
that might
choose
be
to
what he's really
intake.
lacking is perspective.
Yeah.
He got the
You
power, he got the influence. He might have no perspective of what a
man,
successful, real, not something you can put on a screen. I'm talking real life, blood, skin, bones looks like.
you have to have that perspective and you gotta have that wherewithal. Ain't nobody gonna give it to you at that level. It's just like J. Cole said, you know what I'm saying? He'll be the one to check himself. Cause at that level, you know what I'm saying, you're gonna have a lot of yes man, a lot of people who ain't gonna care about what you do. So you just gotta want it for yourself. It's just like Wimby. Everybody in awe because this man took a retreat, a mental retreat to know what I'm saying, close out everything. You know what I mean? And that was just so crazy for everybody because that's not normal at his level of just stardom, finance. That's not normal. So that's the thing. It's just like in the case of Tyler Perry, he's got there. Like you said, he's conditioned. He may be there from childhood, whatever stigma, whatever it is, but he would have to choose to go for it, to stop the black propaganda, to really switch lanes. Like he would have to choose that to look for that knowledge. And he doesn't have to. What he's doing is working. He ain't got to reinvent the wheel. So he would just have to want that. And I don't think he want that at all.
I also want to point this out to y'all. Let me show you this video. And it could also give you an idea as to why his work is so monolithic like that. Take a look.
Work ethic.
Work ethic.
Willie? Willie,
Hey
what you got
man,
to say? That man wrote about 15 films.
hey man, hold on. I'm gonna leave and come back so y'all can see my face.
Do y'all remember that Atlanta episode called Work Ethic? And it was about Mr. Chocolate, aka Tyler Perry.
Mr. Chocolate. Which one is that?
Man,
Bruh,
and I
they went.
think I was
I'm
thinking of
back.
that when we was
Keep
talking
going,
about
Dad.
That
Tyler
was
Perry.
about Tyler Perry, bruh.
Bro,
Mr. Chocolate.
that's
Which one is
that's
that one?
that's insanity, bro.
Just
So
look it up.
so that video shows you one, two things. It does show you work ethic, but it shows you that he got no perspective. If you in there writing scripts all by yourself, you critiquing your own work, you coming up with your own thing in your mind, what you saying is gold, cash, money. But what if two other people would have been in that room and say, "Hey, Todd, like, let's switch this up here because this a little off. This ain't true to fold. This ain't XYZ blase blase, you know." And work ethic is part of it. Like he sat there and he said, "I'm gonna tell my story and I'm gonna tell it how I want to tell it." Which I ain't gonna lie, bro. He 1,000% right, nigga. It's your studio. This ain't Willie Thomas collab. This is Tyler Perry Studios. But when you're trying to tell a story, and this is just Willie Thomas speaking, he ain't gotta listen to this at all. When you're trying to tell a story with as much reach as you got, and it evolving not like a self or not like an autobiography, but it's really a story that touches so many different groups of people, you would think that perspective should be shared. And I'm gonna leave it at that.
Why would he do that though? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I made $1 billion writing my own films and not having no other chefs at the table. I built this right here. Why would
Well,
I fix it? Why would I change that?
Some people
I
don't have
I
that
can tell
conscience.
I can tell you how. If you I watched that Straw movie, and there were parts in the film where I was like, bro, that's not realistic. And that's one thing I really hate when it comes to TV or movies is stuff that's not realistic. So I don't want to
Mm.
spoil it for y'all, but who cares? I mean,
I ain't gonna
it
watch it.
was it was a part in the movie where Taraji's character was holding up a bank and the cops was outside like telling her to come out. And they was like and she was like, I don't want to come out because earlier in the story this white police officer said that he gonna try to find a legal way to kill her. She was like, I'm not coming out there if he's out there because he's gonna try to kill me. So that's the whole reason she was in there for 12 hours.
What?
Then the cops finally say, okay, we found him and we've removed him from the premises. Come on out. She said, send a screenshot. Let me make sure it's him. Tell me why her phone was off. So they couldn't send her a screenshot. She was talking to him on like an emergency bank phone, cell phone. Tell me why that cell phone could only receive phone calls, not text messages. So then she said, okay, well, I need y'all to turn my phone back on and then send me an image so I can make sure it's him. I was like, that's why you need somebody else in the room to be like, bro, we gotta find some other obstacle. Like,
But that's what pisses me off about the world because why does that work? It's like nowadays we just accept garbage. We just accept garbage, bro. And I'm gonna be real. I ain't want to say this. I ain't want to put this out, especially on like a media
foul out,
platform or
bro.
whatever.
Foul out.
But Sinners, dog, Sinners. I just watched Sinners
Whoa.
like last week or something, bro.
Whoa, whoa.
Whoa.
Be cool. Be cool. Be cooler,
Uh,
bro. Be
Speak
cooler.
on it. Speak on it.
No,
Speak on it.
I just want to
I
hear
ain't
what you
gonna
want
even
to
say
say.
that, bro. I ain't gonna
Say
even
it.
say that.
I
Say
We
want
can
to
it.
talk.
hear
Nah,
it.
We
go
can take
ahead,
this
bro.
off the
Say it. We
pod.
messing.
We
We
can take
messing.
this off the
Nah,
pod.
I
I want
gotta
to hear
hear this.
this. I
Say
want to
it.
hear it.
No, say it.
Man, I just want to know, bro. Like, what was the deal? Like, what was just this big? Why was it so prolific? Like, why are we? Why were we hooping and hollering about it? Like, it's cool, the
Oh,
history
why the
behind it,
movie gets so much?
and
Why
like
the movie gets so much steam?
yeah. Now, if it was one of them things where we was just supporting because we supporting, I understand that.
Nah.
But man,
The the
I did not see. Yeah,
the story. I can tell you
it
5
ain't hit.
reasons why
Man.
it got hot. One, Ryan Coogler did it. He like the hottest, one of the hottest directors out right now. Two, it was an original film, and it portrayed the Delta. It portrayed black people especially, but it portrayed an impoverished region. Like, even though them folks was poor and it was in the Mississippi Delta, I didn't. It was points in that film. It was in that film. I never thought, oh, they showing black people as poor and downtrodden, right? The twins when they came in, they said what? He said, this is the last time we gonna pay you this. And what did he say? He said, ain't no boys here, only men. And so it took a different tone than a lot of movies of that ilk,
Yeah,
right?
where it's
Even
like,
though,
yes, yes, master, please
yeah,
don't come
yeah,
back
yeah, yeah,
here.
yeah, 100%, 100%. And it showed you the power. It spoke a lot of being proud to be black, even in the struggle. Kind of what we were talking about earlier. Like, even though they was in that shack, like one of the funniest scenes is when he says, "We taking only American dollars." And that man said, "Now that old man, I ain't gonna say what he said for real, but that old man worked hard for them wooden nickels."
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
I
a
don't get me
pride
wrong.
thing.
I like and especially in nine times. You know what I mean. I love that. You know what I'm saying. You portraying us how we need to be portrayed. I love that. But that should be the norm. You know what I'm saying. That I'm not
But you
gonna
can't but see,
like.
Jalen, you can't juxtapose it because, like, look at what Sinners portrayed us as. Like I said earlier, I didn't leave out of there thinking portrayed us bad. And then your next big director, your two biggest black directors, Tyler Perry, Ryan Coogler. Now look at how Tyler Perry portrayed us. Not just in the movie Straw. Think of the
Yeah,
last
yeah.
three
I
Tyler
feel you.
Perry movies that you could think of. Because you got to think about it, Jalen. For Tyler Perry, like, this is Ryan Coogler's first original film.
I
Every
don't take
film
that
Tyler
away.
Perry does is an original film.
I don't take that away. I was just a little bit disappointed that this was just like a vampire movie. Like
But
we trying to make it so deep and it's cool that we got them themes in there. But at the end of
Jalen,
the
I don't
day,
think you
man,
understand.
did you see the scene at the end where he was shooting against the entire Ku Klux Klan? The
yeah.
one dude. Man,
Yeah.
it turned into what's the director of Django? What's that dude's name? Quentin
Quentin
Tarantino.
Tarantino.
It turned into a Tarantino movie right then. This man shooting against all these people, bro, and he gets shot
So it's
one
because he had an
time.
automatic weapon. Oh, you talking about because he got hit? But we don't know
Yeah,
if he
if you
necessarily
get hit,
died.
then you got one time. Man, these people were everywhere, man. They were everywhere. Like for
Then
me, it's
he
just
had an
I expected
automatic
a little bit
weapon.
more, and you went too. Man, go back and watch that scene, Arkin. How
But no,
many
but see,
people them people had?
you,
They had people behind cars. Some people were in cars. It's
but
no
you
way,
getting caught up in
especially back
No,
then.
you getting
he
caught
was
up in the
sniping.
nuance now a
He
little bit,
was
Jalen.
he was
It's not the
okay.
new
So
one. It's just like
Jay. So
it's
let me
just.
explain.
Hmm.
So those guns back then, them guns they were shooting at him had no aim. I got a gun from like 1950. You remember shooting it
Man,
with
I
me? You remember
understand how
shooting it
the
with me,
guns
Willie?
work,
You remember that?
Arcade. I
Willie shot it
understand
with
how the
no
guns
aim.
work. But let me tell you, it with that many people, I just need you. I'm fresh off this scene. I'm fresh off this scene. I need you to go back and watch it because, man, I'm
What's your
telling you,
qualm?
at
What's
the
your issue with the
time.
scene, Jalen? What's your issue with the scene? I've seen the movie three
It's
times.
that
What's your issue with the scene?
it's that element of fate. Just like when Anthony was saying earlier, how he was watching the movie that Tyler Perry directed. It's just like when you had that element of, oh, we go from realism to, oh, you just had to pull something out your ass in order to make the next scene work. You know what I'm saying?
So what's
That's
your
what it
issue?
was for me.
Like in the end, Jalen, I think you're getting caught up in the weed. In the end, they both was gonna die. Like that was the whole point. That whole setup. He wasn't surviving that. Whether it was anything, he wasn't living through that.
He didn't die. I mean, he didn't die though.
He did die. He did die.
Well, we don't
Yeah, he
know.
No,
did.
not right.
We don't
Not
know.
right. Yeah,
Huh?
yeah. Like
He
they didn't
died.
show
We
him,
know he
bro.
died.
He died.
We know Smoke died. He holding his baby with his wife. What you mean? He dead.
Yeah, I guess you could portray it like that. The part that
Yeah,
was
yeah,
unrealistic to
technically.
me was when them boys was right. I'll give you this, Jalen. When them boys was right at the window and he was shooting and they threw it. He was right there and dodged the bullet. The dude point blank range and he took the grenade and threw it in the car with them. That was unrealistic.
But
But
hear
when he
me
was
out though.
And that
scoping
was
them,
part of the
no,
scene.
But
when he
see,
was
And then
scoping them boys,
what about
when he was
but
scoping them boys
and
with
what
that
about the one
army
mulatto
sniper rifle,
girl?
that was real.
y'all get it. Hold on. Y'all
What
get into
about
the
the one
weeds.
mulatto girl going out there with the three white people who were possibly in the Ku Klux Klan to so-called see what they wanted if they was really like, bro, that was so
Hear
unrealistic.
me
That's
You
out
because
mean
they
to
was
though.
tell me
broke,
Y'all
at the
Jay.
y'all
time
They were broke.
hold on one
And they
second,
wouldn't
guys.
man,
Hold on
leave,
one
bro.
second. One
They
second.
wouldn't leave.
I'm telling you, man,
Y'all are
you
getting
would
this is
not.
where y'all are making a mistake. Y'all are getting caught up in the new. This is why those two
It's
don't
a
examples
movie.
don't.
You you
Hold on.
you you look for what you look for in
But
movies. It ain't
Jalen,
about going in. You
hold
supposed
on
to
now,
go into
Jalen.
the weeds with
You
a
capping
movie,
out
Willie.
right
You
now.
of all people saying
Hey, y'all,
that?
one at
You
a
capping
time.
out
That's
because you compared it to Straw. Now hear me out, and I'll finish. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
A
But
single
Straw,
aspect.
but Straw, if I can remember correctly, Arkeem, have you seen Straw? Okay, so Straw, you seen it, right, Anthony?
yeah.
Straw is about something that can realistically happen, right? Motherfucker, vampires don't exist. So that's like comparing Van Helsing to to damn like I don't know Nat Turner. Like Straw is something that can
But
happen when a black woman robbing a bank.
that's
Vampires
what I'm
aren't real.
saying. That's
It's
exactly
a
what I'm saying,
fictitious
Willie.
thing. It's gonna have a lot of
Right,
fictitious stuff.
right. Before I saw this movie, what I got from this is that this was like another classic. You know what I'm saying? Like people made it seem like way more horrific than it actually was. The scariest scene was the very first opening scene where the dude was like flashing back to when he was bloody and
Yeah.
stuff. Like that was the scariest scene. I heard of people saying, "Oh, they around in circles, the voodoo and all this other type of stuff." Like I was really thinking this was like a horror movie. Like I wouldn't know what the plot is. Like,
Well,
man,
you
we
just
gonna
kind of
really be on some
uninformed.
stuff.
You just kind
Yeah,
of
yeah. I
uninformed
mean,
then.
I guess you could say that. I guess you
I
could
mean,
say that.
that's
But
why you got to kind of go
ultimately,
into movies with a blank script because I mean, I- it never, it's a thriller. But I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying.
and I
But
mean, it's called Sinners. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah,
at the end of the day, I mean, bro, it was just a vampire movie. Like
right.
I low key
it
feel like feel like you saw it so late that the hype had been built so high for you it could never. it
Yeah,
can never reach that expectation.
yeah. I had no
Nah, I
expectations.
seen Lilo and Stitch late too, and that was great.
Right,
It
but
met the
Lilo and Stitch is
expectation.
just Lilo and Stitch. It's just a remake of what it already is. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm getting at, bro. Like this is an original thing, and that's why it's such a big deal. Because if I named you right now, name me the last black director that you saw an original film from that you thought was great. I'll wait.
And that's fair. And I guess that's the appeal then, you know. And like you said, for me that would be Into the Weeds. Like it just depends on all of what you're looking for in the movie. Like I really don't dissect like the black directors versus, I like to see them, but you're right. Like
But just
I
think about that,
could
an
delve more
original
into,
film.
yeah,
I'll
I
say
could delve
this.
more
I'll
into
say
that.
this too. As a person who just said that I don't like when stuff get unrealistic. Every movie, no matter what movie it is, you have to give them something and say, "Well, this is a movie." I'm telling you,
Yeah, I'm
as
with you on
somebody
that
who
now, but
pays
it
close
is
attention to
some
this,
stuff. It's some stuff, and don't get me wrong. Like my, I've had people tell me while watching movies, like it's annoying to watch movies with you because you just like look into every freaking thing in the movie, and it's like bro, I can watch Rush Hour, the whole entire movie, and say, dang, it's a whole lot of stuff happening in there, but pretty much all of that was pretty much real, you know. And to me, they did it easily. Easily. That was back in the day, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of people you
no,
got,
indeed, boy,
But
huh?
but you gotta give. But
bro,
It could.
what?
I go back and watch Rush Hour.
But
bro. When
Everything.
them
It
boys was
ain't.
in that,
what?
when them boys was in that massage parlor, and
Come on,
Jackie
what's
and
so
Chris
realistic
beat
about
all them,
that?
bro. They beat the whole first wave of them boys by themselves.
Nah, boy. Come on,
Bro,
Come
man.
on,
Oh,
man. It took
okay.
a whole
That's a
second
that's a
wave.
Come
lie.
on, man.
bro, if you got hands, you just don't
Hey, this is
understand.
Jackie's hand, bro. What you talking
You
about?
got
Bruce
hands,
Lee did
dog.
that shit in real life.
That's what I'm
Talk
Man,
about
saying.
Bruce
some.
Lee did
Talk
that
about
shit in
some.
real life.
Talk about some. Flip me, huh? Flip me, man. They would have beat they man. Hey.
what I'm saying. Jalen getting into the weeds with this realism. Like, bro, one movie is based on a single black woman, whatever straw based on. Like, bro, like if Superman, like I ain't gonna lie, Jalen, I'm a still off you. If you come on here talking about some, bro, I ain't like it with Superman. Like y'all know, if he'd have got blasted this way, his arm, like, bro, it's Superman, bro. Like the movie named
Man, that's
after him.
supposed to be fiction, bro. That's supposed to be fiction. This was based off Bumpy Johnson in Mississippi, his story, how he was supposed to have sold his soul to the devil and all this other
Bro,
stuff.
did you say Bumpy
Like to me,
Johnson?
it
Did you
was
say,
it
hold
was
on,
both.
fam? Did you say
Let them
Bumpy
make it, man.
Johnson?
My
You
bad.
got to stop talking if you
That's what they
said
call
Bumpy
that what they
Johnson.
called him in that what they called him in the
Bro,
movie.
Robert Johnson sold his soul. Bumpy Johnson's from Chicago.
No,
What? He's a
no, Bumpy Johnson is from New
New
York.
York.
New York. I'm sorry, New York. Nick, Robert
Yeah, see,
Johnson
we
is who
all wrong.
sold.
We all I
Brother,
missed
you
a
said
name.
Bumpy.
You
Like,
missed a
hell no.
state. You know,
Robert
some people
Johnson
call
sold his
Robert
soul.
Bumpy. You ain't never
Huh?
met a dude named Robert that they call Bumpy.
Afraid
So
not,
you get
man.
my point. You know, and the thing is,
I ain't never in
the
my
thing
life called
is,
another man
it
Bumpy.
was supposed to be, it was supposed to be, you just did. You knew I'm from New York, but it was supposed to be,
We
it,
talking
it
about
was a
the
little bit of
real
all
Bumpy
that mixed
Johnson.
into one for me. And I just feel like it was a decent movie, but I don't think it has high replay value. I think it's great that it was an original movie by a black director. But I don't think I'll be watching it again. Like, would you go? Like, will you be going to see it again?
I saw it
I've seen
twice
it three
already.
times.
Man, when that
And
Oh
dude got
shit!
on there, he
See,
said, "Man, that stuff it just reminded me of home." I imagine you don't have very old people who are probably around similar times like that. But my grandma even said things like, "Hey, don't take no wooden nickels," and
yep.
she'll put some money in your
And then the
pocket.
fact that he tried to, yeah,
And
the fact that he tried to pay with
yeah,
He
one.
he
said
tried to
that
pay
old
with
nigga
a
worked
wooden
hard for
nickel.
them wooden nickels.
Nana, my grandma used to put money in pocket and say, here, put this in your pocket, money. That'll keep the hanks off for you. I never knew, it never even registered me what that was until seeing the
That's a
movie. I'm
Hank.
like, dang, you know, like,
Hank. Or like when she gave him the necklace. I remember my folks used to be like, boy, carry this with you. This been blessed. This been blessed. And because it's blessed, you blessed. Like, and he had the necklace. Remember, he didn't get shot till he took the necklace off. That was the symbolism behind that. When he took the
But his
necklace
was
off,
hoodoo.
huh?
His was
Yeah,
hoodoo.
all that's been talked about. Yeah, I can tell. Jalen ain't had them old heads coming in and start rubbing on him, talking about some
Just
more
saying,
blessings and all that.
you comparing your grandma giving you a Christ charm to a dude, to her giving him a hoodoo charm, a hoodoo
Wait.
necklace.
Let me also say this, and we need to move on to one last quick hit. But okay, Jalen. So when you look at the beginning of that film, when them boys look like before it turned vampire, bro, that film was like the greatest day ever. Like if you look at it from the eyes of the boy who played the was it guitar?
Yep,
Mm-hmm.
preacher boy.
Bruh, that would have been the greatest day of his life. You know what I mean? Like seeing his older cousins come back to town, making moves, trying to get old boy to come and play.
They
And he
signed
was like,
him.
yeah, they signed him, negotiating.
Anthony.
They bought the sign.
Remember Anthony in
Like,
the
bro,
cut
that was
scene.
great.
In the cut
But
scene, what did he
ultimately,
tell
it's
him?
still
He
glorifying
said,
the fact that you sell your soul to the devil to make music and to make money.
Hold on.
I mean,
Remember
at the
Anthony?
end of the day, we talk about how one thing is detrimental to the populace, and then we giving somebody a
Look,
pass.
hey, we're done with Jalen.
What
But
part?
Anthony,
What?
remember the last scene when he was with them in the bar, and he literally said what you just said. He said, "Hey, y'all, before that went south, he was an old man. He said, I still think about that day. Before all that stuff happened, would y'all say that's the greatest day of y'all life?" And he said, "It is. That's the last day I
I
saw
thought that's
my
why
brother."
Ant said that.
And that's why I was like, "He's right."
But let me ask you this, Jalen.
What's so profound about that?
What part was about saving? Because like if I asked you to name me another movie like that, there's no other movie on earth that's similar to that one.
They gave
Like
you their best day ever?
no, like
Grand opening, grand close.
When you think about Sinners, there is no other movie that you could say this is a derivative of. You know, that's the highest form of art. The highest form of art is originality. This is not derivative of anything.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
But
I like that.
But anyway, one last question for you. What about it made you give like selling your soul is the only way to make it vibes? I didn't get that from it.
So, we talk about the music industry a lot, and we talk about that shift, that shift from talking about familiar things to going into, the secular music. And I think this was a glorification of that, right? Robert Johnson, as he went on and played at that party, he said, this was the best day of his life. Well, Bud, your best day of your life consisted of seeing your two mafia brothers coming into town, going to play music at a club, surrounded by people shaking ass, and that shit. Okay, before the burning up and stuff like that, but that was your best day ever, like feeling the glorification, feeling the ego. You know what I'm saying? Like that was your best day ever. You know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, we glorifying the same things that we were just talking about.
So,
but I don't see how that is selling his soul though. Like
at the end,
he could
now
play.
this is what I took from it, because like after all this happened, because he said
I
that
never
thing was the best day ever before
the
that.
Robert Johnson thing.
Yeah, about how he sold his soul. He went to the railroad and met the devil.
I'm saying I never. That's what I'm saying. People always be saying that it's the Robert Johnson story, and I'm just like, how?
It plays off.
It's not
of it.
supposed
So
to.
originally, remember when he said play this guitar?
No, I think that's made up, bro. Because
then why was it said?
It made sense to me, because why at the end, this was crazy to me. After all this shit done happened, you walks back into that church and your father tells you, after you've proven him right with everything now, you've proven him right. You've literally seen and talked to the devil. You battled the devil. And then you was able to walk into the Father's house on the next day. And instead of you at least playing guitar for God, you literally walk out the door with that same guitar that was broke by the devil, and then go on to be rich and famous.
He can't play the guitar. It's gone. They beat it out of him.
But To me,
I
that was
just
the
don't see where
symbolism,
he
though.
sold
The
his
fact,
He
the
soul.
didn't sell
fact
his
that he,
soul.
the
You're
fact
right.
that he kept, the fact that he kept that guitar handle. To me, that was signifying that he essentially he made his
No,
choice.
Okay,
He
so let me
walked out
not
the
explain
because
this.
Robert
church. And
because
then he
So
Robert
goes
he's
on to
Johnson
sing blues and the same secular music that got him in that place.
he was already doing that. Jalen, you was a little
That's
late
just the
to the
way I
party.
looked at it. I just thought that
So
there was a real like comparison
Robert
to.
Johnson
You said
sold
what?
his soul to learn to play the guitar. Preacher Boy knew how to play the guitar. He didn't sell his soul for that. That symbolism at the end was that even though all that he went
I mean,
through
he ain't gonna
would
do the
make you,
exact story.
but even though, hear me out though, the symbolism in the end was that even though he went all through that, he would do it all over again to get that feeling again. Because you got to think about it, bro. Before all that happened, that nigga was a sharecropper in Clarksdale,
you
Mississippi,
on mute
picking
or
cotton
something?
every day. Like, like he.
Can y'all hear him?
Can y'all hear me?
I can't hear
Nah,
him.
but he ain't on mute though.
Oh,
Don't say he on mute.
I'm not on.
All right,
It's
so
my
well, while
connection.
he out,
Can y'all
let
hear
me
me now?
explain. He sold his
Can y'all hear me
soul.
now?
Go ahead, Willie.
There he go.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
Yeah, we
sorry.
hear you now.
He. I was telling you, like, okay, Robert Johnson sold his soul to learn how to play guitar to the devil. Preacher Boy didn't do that. Preacher Boy knew how to play guitar, but he held on to that guitar at the end because, like he was telling them in the end, you gotta think about it, bro. That nigga was a sharecropper. He was picking cotton every damn near day of his life, sharing a room with his brothers and sisters. So if you come to town and your cousins that you ain't seen since you was a damn kid come back, they put money in your pocket, they let you play. You in a building performing in front of everybody. You didn't witness vampires, all sorts of crazy ass shit. To
Let me get
him,
next.
that was
We
his
just forgetting
greatest
about
day.
that fact.
And he didn't drop, and the reason why he said
We
drop the
just forgetting about
guitar,
that fact.
the reason,
Why were you there, Willie? You
huh?
were there because of that. Because of the choices you made and
Let me
because of what you
explain.
glorified, you ended up
Jalen,
fighting the devil.
he didn't fight
Literally.
a devil. He
Literally.
fought a vampire. But he was there because
That was
Vampire,
the
devil,
devil.
demon. See, you too far into the weeds right now because
no,
All right,
you
so
your
let me
far
attention
explain
into
to
to
the
y'all
the
what
weeds.
happened.
minute
So let me explain
details
to y'all what happened
is
with
taking you from
context.
missing the main point.
So
You missing the main
Sammy,
point. Is that the feeling?
Sammy sold his soul to that white devil off screen beforehand. See, if you go back and watch the movie, he said when he came in and Sammy showed up at the door, he said, Sammy. You remember that? Y'all remember that part?
Which one was Sammy?
Sammy was Preacher Boy. He said, Sammy. Remember that? He said, I knew that was you. I knew that was you. I heard you playing from all the way across. To tell you what, y'all give me Sammy, I'll leave all y'all alone. You don't remember that?
Well,
Because
that's
he
And
because
sold
then
his
at the
soul
Sammy.
end,
That's
off
because
at the
camera.
Sammy could
end,
play that well.
and
No,
you remember
no.
at the end, he also the vampires came back in there and said, "We can't hurt you. We can't hurt you because of the deal that we made, and we basically keep you unharmed." And I think him and somebody else he knew, but
Bruh,
we keep you
he didn't
unharmed
he
until
didn't
whatever,
know
whatever X
Sammy.
Y
He
Z.
didn't know Sammy from himself. Y'all gotta remember too. Remember he said, I see all your memories. So he had already turned people who knew Sammy, bruh. Like, that's the whole point. He didn't know Sammy. That's why
But
when the first time he
Yeah, he
you
didn't
wouldn't know
know.
he
all, you wouldn't know.
Sammy's music is what drew
right,
him to the
right.
Juju.
He didn't know
No,
that was
he
Sammy
knew
until
Sammy
Yes, it
from the
was, bro.
jump.
he didn't know that was
No, he
Sammy until
didn't.
he turned old buddy, and then he was like, Sammy. Because he said, I can see all your memories. That's why he was speaking Chinese to that child lady. That's why he was saying all the stuff that he
But
knew. He was
he wouldn't
borrowing
have
everybody's
Sammy memory,
memories.
so that don't make sense.
Huh?
I looked it
You
up.
ain't
It
gonna
said
have.
that
That was his
I looked it
power,
up.
bro.
It
He could
said
see all his
they drew
memories.
inspiration. They drew inspiration from the folklore of Robert
Right.
Johnson, but
But it
it's not
wasn't
a
Right.
Robert
And
direct
that's
Johnson.
what I'm
link.
telling Willie. Like,
And
they
that's
not gonna put
facts.
Hell
the
no,
exact
Jalen. You said that's
story in
Robert
there.
Johnson. You said Robert Johnson.
Okay, but it's not gonna be the exact one to one. You know what I'm
Bro, you
saying?
can't
Like
say
they
that.
don't
You
never
say
put the
it.
exact movie. The adaptation from the book of Harry Potter to the movie ain't 100%
This
accurate.
this man personally got in the lake and was trying to get his one-on-one with Sammy. Bruh, that's because he already knew him. He was so good at
No,
the
because
guitar.
Sammy was the talent, bro.
He didn't want no
Sammy's talent.
talent. He wanted to just get eat. Then what he go to them poor white folk for in the beginning if he wanted talent? He said
He had to
Sammy.
get numbers.
Dude, you don't remember in the beginning of the movie when it says some people can play music so good and so deep
You can
it can
pierce the
conjure up
veil.
spirits from the future and the past. That was Sammy.
And
Sammy was the dude that could do that.
One
it
thing,
That's
also
what
Jalen, I
conjures
drew
know
him
up
you
to
dark
mess
it.
with
forces.
that
You're right,
evolution
yeah.
of the juke joint. I know you mess with that evolution of the clubs, the juke joint. I know you mess with that part.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
that
was
was
crazy.
cool.
But
That
That was
was
dope as
Arkeem,
crazy.
hell.
to the white
But
people
that's what I'm
aspect,
saying. That's still the
he had to get the
glorification
white
of
people.
why
If
we
he didn't
are
get the
here
white people,
right
he was gonna
now.
die.
This is the same black culture that y'all was saying is a net negative. I don't see how we're saying that this is different.
No, you
That's
interpret
my
it that
thing.
way.
All right.
The
I don't
difference,
see
what
how
we
we're
was
saying that
talking,
this is different.
but what so it's two big differences in that. And I hate to beat this
It's
dead
really
horse,
not.
but I'm gonna beat him just for the second. One,
You
that's a
got
fictional
to beat
movie.
that thing. Make it
Two,
jerky.
two is this right here is that what they was talking about. Like at no point did you ever see Stack or Smoke disrespect their mama. You ain't ever see Smack or Smoke disrespect his baby mama, right? He said that was our child. In the end, he didn't call her no bitch at no point. He didn't say, dirty bitch, you had that dead baby. Nah, he said that was our baby.
Man, he
Why you
called
why
her a bitch when he came when that light skinned girl came over there. Bitch, you ain't know that you weren't supposed to come and see me. Why is you here? He handled
I'm,
her
talk,
rough as hell. What are you talking about?
I'm talking about he never had the
The
black
light skinned chick, the one that what?
I'm talking about the one that he had the baby with. What are you talking about?
He may not have said no shit out the way with her, but he said some shit out the way when that light skinned chick first came up to
I'm
him
talking about
that
I
they
ain't talking
had
about the
some
light
dealings
skinned
with.
chick at all.
It don't
What
matter
I'm
who you
getting at
talking
He was
about.
is
The
married
fact
to a
is that
whole
he
nother
disrespected
man.
somebody in there. Like
what I'm
what?
talking about. What? What are you talking about? Hold on now, Jalen.
Married to
I'm
a
talking.
I
whole
see
different
what you mean.
man.
I see what you mean, Jalen. It does have some bad themes.
Of course, but I said that in the beginning. I said it had the stuff, but I didn't leave out of there thinking an overall bad feeling about black people. It might have had its bad thing, but you didn't walk out of there thinking like, damn, that's another movie where they make us look bad. Another movie where they make us look crazy. It
What
was
was the
not like
positive
that.
aspect, Willie? Besides the fact that they portrayed men as men and women as women, what was the positive aspects?
It showed you. Okay, so I'll
It
say positive aspects.
it
When
showed you
when he was
some niggas
playing the
with attitude.
music, when he was the attitudes one, the attitude of not being subservient to white people even in that time. Two, when he was playing the music and he was bringing the cultures together, and you saw the history coming through of where people came from and all that. That was positive. That was not negative. That was like, okay, you see the lineage, you see the connectivity of all that. You saw the power of
Does
black.
that change the aspect of
Hold
the
on. Let me finish.
music?
Let me
Because
finish.
the
Let
things
me
that they
finish.
were
Let me
showing
finish.
is
Let me
the
finish.
music
Let me
that we was
finish.
just talking
Let me
about.
finish
That's
this.
the
Let me
music we
Let
finish
was
me
this
just talking
off.
chime
about.
in next,
Let me
Willie.
finish. Let me finish.
That's the
When
music
they
we was just talking
purchased
about.
in the very first scenes, when they purchased that building, and he said, "Look, he said, what y'all boys?" He said, "Y'all boys ain't serious." And what did he say, Arcane? Ain't no boys
And no
here,
boys here, just
only
grown
men.
men. And he
We
snuck
gonna
up
pay you
Where
behind
they
him.
get
everything
that
in that.
money
Hold on,
from?
let me finish. Let me finish.
Where they
Let
get
me
that
let
money
me
from?
Hold on, let me finish.
I got you,
He
Where
Jalen.
they
said,
get that
"Let me
money
pay."
from?
He said, "Let me pay you everything in that bag, and you ain't gonna get nothing a dime else. And if we see you and your clan friends come back over here, we gonna kill them dead." Like
Hyper
that
masculinity,
mindset,
baby. That's what I'm talking about for the
and
win. I love it.
and
Man, that's
that
not hyper
movie,
masculinity. That's how my granddad, that's how
That's
my
just
great granddaddy
masculinity.
was. My great
yeah.
granddaddy was towards white people. My great granddaddy wasn't no, oh, well, y'all please go tell him. My great granddaddy used to walk out on the porch and you say, what y'all want, white folks? With the shotgun.
And that same hot headedness that is in the that is in the young niggas now, you chastise them for.
That's a different
Why?
thing though.
That's
That's
It's
different.
always
different,
But
a
hold
different
man.
on,
thing.
Jalen,
It's a
let
different
me
thing.
That's
finish.
It's a
somebody
Jalen,
different
trying.
you gotta let me
That's
thing.
some people
finish.
who come to harm you. That's not
Bring it
no
together, Willie.
But
school
Bring it
last
together.
fight.
point, my last point of the positive was when he was talking to Preacher Boy. When Smoke was talking to Preacher Boy, he said, "Look, it's a place called Mount Bayou where you can go and do this and do that." And he was like, "Well, why didn't you go?" He said,
It
"Because
was
we
nothing
were
but
gonna
black
go,
people.
but that preacher man he knew where my daddy was, and he figured if my daddy was like this, then I was like this, and I couldn't come." But he basically was saying, "Hey, bro, we did all this, and that's cool." But you ain't gotta do all this, which that's a story told by time through black people. You ain't gotta do all this. You ain't gotta go through the craziness that we did to be success. And so it was some very positive stuff that was intertwined in there. Was there negative? Yes.
And then
But
he
like I
goes
said
on to do
earlier,
entertainment. You know, he goes on to be an entertainment. He goes on to be a sanctioned
It's
by the
it's nothing
devil
it's nothing inherently
rock
wrong with
star.
being an entertainer though. There's nothing inherently wrong with being
I
an
mean,
entertainer though. But
I feel like you're the same person that says that that's too much of what we glorify today, and we got too many young people who want to be
mm-mm.
Jalen,
NBA
you looking
players
at this through a
and
kaleidoscope, bro. You
and
what other
I don't
option did
think
he
so,
have,
Willie.
Well,
Jalen?
I don't think
just
so.
because I say that it's too many people that want to be rappers and NBA players, that don't mean that there's anything inherently wrong with being an NBA player. Like if you that, then you that. You know, if you one of the best musicians in the world, then you just are. There's
If
nothing
you're that,
inherently wrong
but
with that.
that's true. It's just the notion that that's what we're mainly projecting. That's
It's a
what we're
period
mainly
piece, Jalen.
putting forth at.
You looking at it too deep now, dude. It was the 1940s
So you ain't
Mississippi.
have lawyers
What
and
else?
you ain't
What other
have
option did he
doctors and
have?
you ain't
If you
have
can
none.
give me
You ain't
one, it's
because you
1940s
had
Mississippi.
sharecroppers on there. But
What
then,
other
like you said,
option
you
did he
had
have,
people who had went to Chicago. You had people who had done the work and had started their businesses. I mean, down there, we were in Mississippi, but I mean, at the same time, like
bruh?
we
That
can't say
dude.
that this is a movie that's pushing a certain thing that is not.
Bruh, Preacher Boy and his old Preacher Boy was 20 years old. Let's say he was 20 years old. What other he been a sharecropper for, let's say, 15 of those 20 years. Outside of music, we gotta be real now, for real. Outside of music, outside of his guitar, his talent that he had. Because Anthony, am I lying?
And this is
Clearly,
my
this bro,
issue. This is
clearly he
my
wasn't
issue.
in school. Clearly he wasn't in school. Clearly he wasn't finna be no great scholar. Our king, what was his other option?
This is my
It's
issue right here.
And that's
1940s.
how you know it wasn't.
This is
It
my
was
issue
loosely based on
because
Robert.
this is the same thing today. It's the same thing today. We say, well, you know, and I feel like y'all the same people who say we make excuses for people. You know what I'm saying? Like these people choose
Brother,
to be the thugs and choose to not go and get the education and things like that. And
brother.
now here we are saying that he have no other choice than to
1940
go
to
into music and go
2025, though,
into
Jalen.
Bro,
like,
that's a
man,
crazy take, Jalen.
okay,
If you think that it's the
okay.
same, if you think people got the same opportunities in Clarksdale that in 1940 that they had in 2025, so we talking about segregation. We talking about you can't
It's
even go to
not the fact
school.
that it's
Hold on,
not
hold
the
on, hold
fact
on.
of that. I know that that is the case. I know that that is the case. But all I'm saying is that don't change the notion of the movie to something that is good. It is still pushing the fact that when you're black and you don't have much, you have to go into entertainment or you
But
have to
that's
go
just the
into
fact
whatever's
of what it
offered to
was,
you.
Arcane. What was most
Right. It's right.
the
So
black
that's what I'm
people that were
saying. So
millionaires in the
let's not make this
1940s?
movie
What were they?
a cult
Crops.
classic for black
Huh?
empowerment or something like that because it's not.
Crops.
That's not what
No,
this
no, no,
is.
no.
I
I'm
don't know if
saying.
anybody ever said that.
Nobody ever said that. In the 40s, Jalen, it was realistic. You said make it realistic, Jalen. In the 1940s, the richest black people in America were entertainers. No doubt about it. In the 1940s, the richest black people in America per were probably entertainers. I can name you 5 or 6, 7 entertainers in the 1940s before I can name you 5 or 6, 7 businessmen, black men in the 1940s.
I mean, you could probably do that now, but that don't mean that they had the
That don't
No,
mean
most
no,
they the
no, no.
money
It's
richest.
not
in
Yeah.
that.
the black populace
It's no. It's not that. It's just that, dude, you
just
gotta
because
think
you can
about it.
name them.
No, no, listen, Jalen. In the 1940s, right, black people were not going to school. There was no black person in medical school. There was no black person that was in nursing school, in lawyer, none of that. So entertainment industry was a way that you could make a lot of money fast. Now, what you did with that, I don't know. In Mississippi, it was very hard for black people to even own land. So he was limited to, okay, if I can play this guitar, somebody figure me out. Maybe I can go. You seen life? What it what it can't get right do to get that money?
Black people started gaining
Baseball.
admittance to American medical schools gradually, with the first documented black medical student graduating from Rush Medical College in Chicago in 1847. All right.
Man, come on, man, Jalen. Come on now, dog.
What you want to talk facts? Let's talk
Name one
facts.
person that graduated in 1847. Name if you Googling stuff, Google me how many black doctors were there from 1847 to 1960.
All I'm
Yeah,
saying is you
the
said we
richest
was
black
in the
people in the 1940s were
1940s.
still The richest black people in 1940 were still businessmen. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Like entertainment ain't gonna never
Like that's a
outlive
long
business.
period of time.
But what
But
I
the
was
main
getting at,
point is
and
like
I was wrong. You're
I
right,
feel
RT. But what
what
I
you're
was getting
saying.
at is in Clarksdale, Mississippi, for him, businessmen probably was not the option. Can we agree with that?
Yeah, I can agree with you, but all I'm
He had a
saying is
better bro.
all
But
that
think about
does
this
is
now.
make this another
Now
run
Arkeem,
of the
you got to
mill
be real.
story
This man,
about
20 years
a
old,
impoverished
clearly hadn't been
young
to
black
school.
man who had to go into entertainment. That's all it
Yes,
was.
dude.
That's all it was.
It was way more than that. That's a hell of a generalization.
What he say?
That's all it
Anthony, I'm
was,
sorry.
man.
What he say?
He
But
said this ain't nothing but a movie that an impoverished black boy became a musician.
man, but I
It's
be on the
another
mindset.
movie. It was another take. It was a
That's
fresh
crazy to
take.
me, bro.
But at
That's
the end
crazy
of
to
the
me,
day, that's what
Arkeem.
it
Agree
was.
Dang,
with it.
I saw a
That's
whole
crazy
different
to
That's
me.
movie.
what it
Cause bro,
was.
let's be real. If Clarksdale had businessmen like that, Clarksdale would not look the exact same as it did in
Man,
that
this is
movie as it does
Blade
today.
mixed with
I'm
Juice.
sorry.
This is
I'm sorry.
Blade mixed with Don't Be a Menace. This is Blade mixed with,
Now
That's the
Jalen,
man, we
Foul
done
Out
seen
Jalen
it
was
before.
podcast,
wilding.
Hey,
folks.
y'all.
We done seen it
He
before,
finna get
man.
us
Jalen
canceled.
wilding.
We done
Jalen
seen
was
it
wilding.
before.
Nah,
It was
nah.
a great
But
it was a great
you
original movie. I like that aspect, but let's not act like this. We reinvented the wheel here. Let's not act like this is just some new and groundbreaking. It was an
But it
original
is.
story,
That's a
and I
crazy
give you
take.
something
What are you
that was
talking
great.
about?
It was
That's a
great. It was
crazy
original.
take.
It was original,
Bro,
but to say that
I
it
asked you to
to
name me
say that we
one.
ain't
I asked
seen
you to
something
name
like
me
this before.
one. This how you know it's great, right? Because I asked you to name me one black directed original film. And we've been on this podcast damn near 3 hours, and you ain't named me one.
Because I've seen a lot of films that I don't know if they original or not, really. I don't go too far. I don't go that far into the weeds.
Name me one black director. Like
Was
you couldn't even
Avatar
lie. You
original?
couldn't even get one wrong.
Because I can say I bet you can pull me up 10 original movies right now, and I can probably give you an example for each one of those movies where I say they took that from somewhere. It's just like we look at Akira, right? How
Like,
that one movie, that one
Bro,
anime movie,
you
what's
speaking so many
had a
words
lot of
right now. You
what's
don't
influence.
even
that
That's
know
all
black
what
I'm
the hell
director
saying.
I'm talking
name? What's
about.
that black director name? D.
Okay, name me an original movie by a white director.
No, the black director's name D, bro.
See, I can't even do that.
Willie, you know that black director name D? The black director is like D. D, you know him?
I don't even know where we're going right now. What?
I'm trying to. Do you know that
Bro,
dude?
no. Bro, you could have named so many different films, Jalen, and you ain't named one. You could have
I'm trying to
said
give you one. Is D?
y'all making this way harder than it need to be. That's what I'm getting at.
His name is D.
Like,
Willie, you know him?
no.
I mean, I don't know if this
Watch
joke is
movies for
gonna.
subject matter. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't get so far into film study that I know the director, you know, in a lot of the movies that I like. You know what I'm saying?
It's
Like I
not.
just if it has subject matter I like, I watch the movie. I don't know if it's original or not a lot of times.
Man, like, you know what I'm saying? If you think
Or
about even a
rather, I
movie
don't put
like
the thought into thinking if it's original or not.
look, man, it's so many you could have said,
Man,
the
hey,
five
bro,
look,
we
You're
gonna
a
have to
movie
agree to
buff, Willie.
disagree.
You're a
We finna
movie
have to
buff.
agree to disagree on
Okay,
this one,
okay, let's do
fellas.
this. Let's do this. And everybody rate Sinners. Y'all can start.
I give it
Out
a
of 10.
9. I give it a 9.5.
nine,
God damn.
8.5, 9.
Damn. What you got, bro? We got some biased answers on here.
Yeah,
No,
I'm gonna
I'm
give
just
it a
playing. I'm
9.
just playing.
I'm gonna give it a 9. Only reason it don't get a 10 for me is because I didn't know why the vampires had the axe to get in the door.
Because that's a part of vampire folklore. Like, the vampires
Yeah.
you've been watching, it ain't been
I
doing
know
that.
that now.
But the original vampire series and
You
stuff,
gotta let them
Dracula,
in.
you gotta
You
ask.
gotta let them in.
Let me
I
ask
know
you
that
this.
now.
Why didn't the girl kill everybody in the party before she left?
She was getting
Why did you
shot up.
leave out?
Huh?
No, she wasn't getting shot up.
Because
Go back
that
and
wasn't
watch
part of
it.
the plan. That wasn't part of the plan that Remy told her.
See the
What?
excuses you be
Wait a
having to
minute.
make to me.
What?
It's
So
talking about
I'm
What?
what
gonna
she
give it
I'm
a
not.
did. It's
I'm
talking
gonna
about
give
what
it a
she
seven
did.
and a half.
She's talking about
When
when she
she
gets to
basically
us.
was fucking old boy and killed the twin, and then they synced her, and then she said, and she just ran out
Well,
like she
the
couldn't have
whole
She
annihilated everybody
She
in
got
there.
hit with that power.
yeah,
has she been invited in?
she didn't have
Yeah, you know, because
she
she
didn't
had
have
free, she
to.
could go in and out
Yeah,
because she
she
walked up to
came
the
in.
dude and she was like, well, ain't you gonna invite me in? And then
She
he was
came,
like,
but
just come
but you
on.
know why though?
And then that's when she ended up fucking dude, and then they seen it, and she was like, wow, and she just ran out.
He
And that's when
shot her
she got
like
with
he
her
shot
other
her like
vampires,
10
boy.
times.
No,
but
he
that
That's
didn't.
fair.
Go
but
back
that's
and
his
watch
plot
Arcane. I
armor though,
promise you,
Jalen.
the gun,
That was his
the
plot
gun didn't
armor.
come out at all.
Dude,
That's
Smoke
fair. That's
shot
fair.
her. Dude,
But
Smoke shot
okay,
her like 5 times after she bit his brother.
But that was his plot armor.
that
Y'all getting lost
what
in the word again.
I'm
what
telling you,
movie
bro.
has like a what movie do you rate like a 9, Jack?
And then too, you know, at the time they didn't know they were vampires, so them bullets wouldn't have hurt them anyway. Remember, after they found out they was vampires, that's when they got the garlic. That's when they started getting silver shit, and that's when they was doing this, that, and the third. So it wouldn't have worked. But would you say a movie that I consider like nines and stuff?
9, 10, yeah.
Like I'll say, for me, is movies that really stick to the script. Like when I come in, it's like Willie said, I have
Nigga, can you name a
expectations for
movie?
movies.
He asked you to name him a
He didn't
damn
say he didn't
movie.
say he didn't say name a movie, did he?
Yeah, I
He said
did. I
he
said
said
name a
like what?
movie that you would put like a 10, a 9 or a 10.
You got to bleep
Oh, I
that.
thought you meant like describe a movie that you would give like a 9 or a 10. Okay.
Nah,
Well,
cause I know the movie you say we gonna be like, oh man.
yeah, no. I let me name a few. I'll give Avengers Endgame, like I give that a 9 or 10. I'll give Rush Hour like a 9 or 10. I would give what's a good animated movie? I would give like The Incredibles like a 9 out of 10.
Bro,
Something
we finna
realistic,
make
I
some
would give a
shit, bro.
9 out of 10.
This nigga said The Incredibles, bro.
Yes, and that's my point. If you
I think
stick to
we
the
won,
script,
y'all.
I
if I
think we
go
won the
into
battle.
how did you win?
This
Because
man
okay,
said
let
Avengers
me give you a realistic.
Endgame.
Let me give you a realistic.
Infinity Wars is better than Endgame, bro.
And that was also a 9 or 10. You see my point? Exactly.
Bro,
So that's what I'm
what are you
saying.
Bruh.
talking
And
about,
like I
man?
said, what I
Endgame
was
was
about to
fake
say,
as hell, boy.
but it was in the world of comics and fiction. It made sense in that
So you mean to
world.
tell me the nigga who just went all across the universe killing niggas for these Infinity Stones, he done snapped his finger and now he done. He don't want to do nothing else.
Yeah, it's
Come
true to the
on, man.
comics. It's true to the comics.
Man.
But what I'm saying is with this
Hey,
movie, and you
what they
made a
say?
great point
Now what you
earlier.
gonna do? I don't know. Never thought I'd get this far. It some
That was
plankton
his plan
shit.
all along. See, that's how you know you will watch that movie. That was his plan all along.
Y'all are
But this, like I
crazy.
said, like you said earlier, you made the main point. I went into this movie kind of expecting something that was different. If I had a went into it with the mindset that this was like, a thriller, um, and really like to me, Nope is a great example of how you do a thriller from a black person perspective. I feel like he hit a lot of great like historical points in some of his movies, and I feel like he didn't have to. Um, I don't know. I feel like the realistic aspect mixing with the fake aspect may have done it for me. So I think that's probably
Hey,
what did it.
the
I
realest
went
thing
in
you
with
said, the realest thing you
the
said
wrong
is in this
expectation.
entire rant, Jalen, was nope. So I salute you for saying nope. I don't know what you said after that, but the fact that you said nope, that gets you a salute.
And you can keep your salutes. But listen, if I had to give it a rating, I would give it a 7.5. I think overall it was a solid movie. Like in the world of movies, it was a solid movie. Like I said, I think I just went in with the wrong expectations. And I feel like also, you give me a Black Panther and it's just like y'all said, I like the movies I chose. I'm a big, hero type, like action, adventure, like comedy and stuff like that. That's my wheelhouse. So like when you get to mixing those aspects and things like that, I have a really like tight eye to it. So I think for me, it was a very good movie. Overall, if I had to went into it with a fresh mind, like with no expectations, I think ultimately I still would have been like, come on, man, we could have went a little less Tubi, but I think I definitely would have had, and I say Tubi,
Anthony,
because
you supposed to
Willie,
moderate
I'm glad you
Super
really
Bowls,
love
bro.
this movie and it can't do no
Hey,
wrong. I'm
I'm
glad you
trying.
feel that way.
I'm trying to end
I'm
He
it.
glad
just he
you
just
feel that
found
way.
out.
I'm
He just
glad you
found
feel that
out.
way, but it's some things that you could. It's simple to do. You know what I'm saying? It would have been simple for you to put something into that movie that made a little bit more sense than the vampire who could kill everybody in there within a minute. You know, just running out the room. You know what I'm saying? For
Okay,
me,
okay,
it's a little bit more creativity you can put there, and I feel like somebody who really looks into movies and things like that, who's a movie buff, knows all these directors and original movies like that, I would feel that you would look at that with a more fine tooth comb, Willie. You know what I'm saying? But I can understand how,
okay.
I may be a little bit too detailed with it.
We really got a wrap, but I do got one quick question for you. Could you name a movie that's a 9 out of 10 that's serious, not like a comedy like Rush Hour or a superhero movie, like a serious like acting cut movie?
Let's see.
He finna say some wild shit.
Ooh, 16 or 6684 or
All right, y'all, we got five
basically
fouls.
the movie about the all black woman male group in the
What?
war that came out
Okay.
last year.
Oh,
It
okay.
basically
Yeah.
told the
Okay.
story about the all black female male regiment who essentially, in the war, I think it was World War I, World War II, one of them, soldiers weren't getting their mail from back home, and it was a big morale issue, things like that. And basically, these black women came in and fixed this massive issue with letters being able to be
So you
delivered
telling me
to
you,
the
you can
family.
give this movie a
So
nine
that
out of
was really
ten, but you don't know what the damn
that
name of
was
the
done
movie
really good,
is?
Hey,
man.
bro, we got
All
a
right,
wrap.
bro.
We
We got
we
five
we got a
fouls.
few
We
seconds.
might
Yeah.
well
But hey, yo, this is. You say what?
we might well wait to see what happened if it get to 2 hours.
Yeah, let's just see what happens.
Yeah, we've been on here this
Because
long.
we suspect this thing for the
Yeah,
cut
we
off
suspected
in
to cut
15
off in
seconds.
15 seconds, so we gonna see. And if they
But
don't,
we gonna see if this is the end. This is the Foul Out podcast. We got 5 fouls, and we
don't
about to
click off
foul
though.
out.
Do not click off. Let's see what happened. We got 1 second.
Hey,
Oh, it
the A&R
it
We
went.
nigga,
It's
still
still
live.
rolling.
What'd you say,
we can
Willie?
talk.
Okay,
Hey man,
cool.
Jalen capped out, bro. This man gonna name. That man said name a
I have
movie.
not
He
kept
went
out.
on a dang monologue. Then Anthony said name a serious movie. This nigga couldn't even give us the name. He up there saying
Bro,
women that
I
look
know
like
Who
this
has
gonna be
males.
cut.
Strauss?
So and this what pissed me off about Willie. See, he try to basically
Bro,
put
how you give a movie a
your
9 out of
shit on
10? You don't
blast.
know the
Cause he
fucking
know,
name,
but
nigga.
nigga, cause I smoke a lot, so I ain't gonna remember every fine fucking detail. And that what pissed me, y'all, nigga. You know that shit, and you want to act like since we on a fucking pod that I just got the best memory in the world, nigga. No, fucking no. It's Avengers Endgame, nigga.
Came out like in '05, but
Nigga,
we asked
the,
you to
the
name a movie
reason I
that came
picked
out
them is
last year.
because
You
that was the
gave a
first
9 out
thing
of
that
10.
came to my head.
That's where the
I
ball
couldn't even
dropped.
remember the other Avengers, nigga. That's why I chose Endgame. I wanted to say Civil War, but the title was too long. I knew it was something else that involved Civil War, but I couldn't remember the
Stephen
rest
A.
of it.
Smith say, "Put down the weed."
All right,
One
we got
day,
5 fouls.
one day,
We got five
Yeah,
shoot,
fouls,
we
man.
one
got
day,
five
boy.
fouls, and we about
Hey,
to
bro,
foul.
everybody check out Superman July 11th. DC is back. Fuck Marvel.
We
DC
got
back.
5 fouls, and
Hey,
we about
somebody
to
get this
foul.
clown out of here.
Hey, delete